I'm a man of Manethrin, and I approve this message.
My brother was heavy into fantasy, and started me off reading something simple, David Eddings, and then once I read through all of that and was enjoying it, he obviously was eager to get me into to the Wheel of Time, just because at that point I think we're waiting for Winter's Heart. I think when I started reading it, but a lot of theories about who did what and who could have done this and that was going around, and we got pretty involved in theory crafting and trying to figure out what was happening before the books came out. I thought that was quite a bit of fun, just trying to pick up on the story threads and see try and figure out together what was going to happen next. We were wrong more times than we were right, but so what? That was the fun in it, was sort of just trying to figure out what was going to happen next, right? So
yeah,
and then from there, just delved headlong into fantasy. I've read, I don't know how many times I've read it, but I've funny enough, I've probably read the first 8, 9 more than I've read the past Crossroads of Twilight, just because something always seems to come up as I'm in the middle of a reread. So, I don't like starting anything in the middle. So if I feel like I'm going to reread it, I start at the beginning again and get to a certain point, and then something else comes out, and I gotta read that. So, but yeah, I've read it a ton of times too. So, but it's pretty near and dear to my heart, obviously.
Yeah, I mean that's another. Besides, all three. I mean, all three are the reason why I'm reading this. So you guys are a bad influence on. You guys are a bad fucking influence on me. Yeah, and the whiskey too. So. Cheers.
I'm a man of Manethrin, and I approve this message.
Last time on Revisiting the Wheel of Time.
Heron, he has a heron blade. He's like, how do people on this side of the ocean earn the heron blade? And it was awesome. It was just awesome.
Gosh, surely that would have been enough to save me. No man can walk so long in the shadows that he cannot come again to the light.
So I know Ingtar. Rand drew a deep breath. The light shine on you, Lord Ingtar of House Shanoa, and may you shelter in the palm of the Creator's hand. He touched Ingtar's shoulder. The last embrace of the mother welcome you home. Huron gasped. Thank you, Ingtar said softly. Attention seemed to go out of him. For the first time since the night of the Trolloc raid on Faldara, he stood as he had when Rand first saw him, confident and relaxed, content.
That's the end of The Great Hunt. Great book.
Fantastic.
Awesome book. It was such an amazing read. I mean, besides the issues that I've kind of brought up, the questions I brought up, it was a great book. Like, it was reading it. It was so easy to get through a chapter in this book compared to Eye of the World. Like, it just everything felt tighter. It felt everything felt important to the story. All the details. I love the world building. Characters grew on me even more. Nynaeve grew on me. Rand grew on me.
I feel like there's a lot more breadcrumbs laid out here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's way more prophecies that need to be fulfilled going forward. So,
yeah,
I like this book a lot. I really did. And
yes.
And now the continuation.
And his paths shall be many, and who shall know his name? For he shall be born among us many times, in many guises, as he has been, and ever will be, time without end. His coming shall be like the sharp edge of the plow, turning our lives in furrows from out of the places where we lie in our silence. The breaker of bonds, the forger of chains, the maker of futures, the unshaper of destiny. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the 9th Wheel of Time book stream. And today we're going to be speaking about the prologue and the first 15 chapters of The Dragon Reborn. And I can't wait to do this. The Great Hunt was an excellent read. Made sure to show the big highlights from last streams. The highlights from last stream in this intro. So if you haven't watched the intro, watch the intro. It was great. I'm really proud of this one. And I just want to say hello to the chat before I bring in the panelists. So I don't know. Oh, this guy. Reason why I hate Picard. All right, Nas. What's up, Nas? How you doing? Gadfly. Yeah, I couldn't think of another track to use, so I just reused the one from last time. Eldan, thanks, man. And we got Kyla Deer. Prophet. Kyla Deer, welcome. And of course, well, Nathan's always awesome. So what's up, man? And I think that's it. I don't think that there's anybody else in the chat. So, all right. So let's bring in the panelists. So I'm going to start with the special guest. So let's bring in Alex. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great. You know why? Because Picard is over, and I want to talk about something good for a change. And once again, I want to say I appreciate you. Coming on almost every week to talk Picard and just bring your takes and everything. So really appreciate it, man. So just what do you think of what are your initial thoughts on The Dragon Reborn, third book in the series?
So I remember getting to, I think it's chapter 6, where Perrin finally starts laying it down. And that was kind of where I was, yep, all right, this is going to be another good one. Let's keep it moving.
All right. I think I'll just say this. The prologue was awesome. Can't wait to talk about it. The initial chapters kind of were a little rough for me to get into, but once I got far enough, it started to accelerate. So kind of the same as with The Great Hunt. So same type of deal. So far, I'm really enjoying this. I'm actually ahead of the chapters that we're going to be talking about. So which is a rarity for me. So all right. So Alex, thanks for being here. So let's bring in the regular panelists. Let's start with the one, the only Tyshar Manetheren, or Amanda Manetheren. What's going on, sir? Welcome.
How's it going?
It's going. It's going. It's just another week, another stream. Does this time a stream that is something that is good? Talking about something that's good for a change. Because I
know this is these talks are refreshing. I just love being able to get into the books, whatever book it is, Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time, whatever, and just talk about something that was thoughtful, that was planned out, and written by somebody who gave a shit about what he wrote.
I read that Robert Jordan read a bunch. He was in the hospital. I think he got sick. He was in the hospital for a bit, so he read a lot of books. He's like, I can do fucking better than this. This is shit. I could write better than this. And then he started writing. And then, well, the rest is history. So, all right. Well, Nathan, thanks for being here. So let's bring in.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's bring in the reason I hate Picard season 3. This jerk. What's up?
Yeah, I'll wear that like a badge of honor.
Well, you know what? It was the thing about the reason why. I mean, you offered to watch it with me, which is I appreciate. And I mean, you were there because you're not a Trekkie. You've never watched New Trek, and this seemed like a trap. The entire series was a trap for people that have watched older Trek. Just once again, it was like a manipulation type of deal.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Especially with heck, it hit me a few times.
Yeah.
So
let's not talk about that. Let's
Yeah,
talk.
let's not. Yeah, let's not.
Let's talk about how we're never going to see that scene with Ingtar in the TV show. Oh, we're not here to talk about that either. Let's talk about the Dragon Reborn. One of the.
Yeah.
I love the. Another great book. I think it's funny because it's titled after our main character, and he's very. So I love that part. But when he does show up, boy, does he show up! So yeah.
Oh, I can't wait then. I mean, like just like the one, like the like it's weird. It's like it's weird because you like there's something going on. There's a lot of there's stuff going on with it.
So like it's weird because like you can almost just like the Great Hunt is obviously sort of a hunt, right? They're hunting down. They're on a hunt for things. This is almost like a chase. They're basically chasing Rand the whole time.
Are you saying this is not the same book?
I thought it was exactly the same. Like I had
this
to
is
read
the
it
same
3 or 4
book.
times. Just,
I mean,
the same characters are in it. 75% of people say it's the same, but I guess I'm in that 25. I don't know what to say.
All right. Well, I can't wait. I'm already like I'm literally on the chapter where they're about to heal. I'm assuming they're going to heal Matt's called Healing. So that's the chapter I'm currently on.
Oh, shit. You're about to get into one of the best scenes in the series, bro. My God.
That's going to be next time. So we're going to be covering that next time. So
one of the best scenes of the whole series is like you're like chapters away. Maybe a chapter away then.
You need to go 3 chapters further.
Oh
God, it's so like you're man. You got something to look forward to, man. One of my favorites.
oh yeah.
Well,
you mean the scene that won't be done in the show?
Well, just like every other scene that won't be in the show, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, this one will definitely be changed. We already know Nynaeve will be playing the character of Matt, and it will be abysmal. But I guess when after we watch season 3 of Wheel of Time, we'll get season 2, and then we can see what they did with that scene.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Steve, thanks for being here. And we got one last guest. He was late. He was fashionably late because that's what he does. So let's just bring in the one and only Pips. What's going on, sir? Thanks for being here.
Hey, I just want to reinforce for everyone. First mostly, Alex and I had opposite reactions to what Steve just said about like, adapted just like all the other things. He like head in his hands, like this. I busted out laughing. So in case anyone is suspecting, not an echo chamber. This is not an echo chamber. We have wild disagreement in how we manifest our disdain for Rafe Judkins and the Wheel of Crime. Some people, it breaks them down emotionally. They go towards despair. Other people sort of like maniacal laughter, like want to light things on fire and just bring all of this edifice just crumbling down on top of us. So now you know how we break out. But hey, right here for this book, this is the first book in the series that I have that is a true first edition. I think it's a first edition, first print. I think that my Eye of the World is like an 8 or a 10th print. Those ones are so hard to find. The print run is so minimal. And then the Great Hunt, I think is like a second.
How much do you have to pay for that first edition?
How do you tell if it's a first edition?
So if you go to the publish page, right? So you look at the publication page, it'll say first edition, November 1991, right? And then underneath that, it has a series of numbers, right? If yours include the lowest number that is visible on there is the book printing run that yours was in. So like mine says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, right? So basically print runs in publishing have to do with like how many grosses of the books they're producing. And so the first 10 prints of the book were actually all printed simultaneously. And so you have 1 through 90 on my page. The second actual printing would have started with an 11. Also, just sort of interesting, mine is actually a signed copy.
Nice. Very nice.
Not signed by Robert Jordan. Signed by some random guy who did a little gift.
What a fucking asshole.
Just saying like, hey, this This is the third book in this great trilogy. I first read The Eye of the World last Christmas while on my first trip to Germany. I can respect, I have a lot of family in Germany. I've actually read a fair amount of these on trips to Germany. I couldn't put it down. The Great Hunt was just as good. Can't wait for you to dig into this one. The person's name, October 12th, 1991.
I take that statement back. That's actually a pretty cool note.
It is actually pretty cool. I found this and I was like, you know what?
That's actually that's actually really cool. Never mind. I take my. Yeah. He's not an asshole. He's a cool dude.
So
I take my.
So I really like this book because it shows that, hey, October 12th, 1991, somebody loved this book so much that they gave it to somebody else and said, dude, read this. Right?
So could like these days, because these are so hard to find. God, do you know what it would take to do that? Like, it's a very cool idea to just be like, hey, this is one of my favorite series ever. I want to write a little note in here, take it to a used bookshop and see who grabs it, right? Yeah. I could never, like, any of the like, I was in Barnes and Nobles today. It almost made me cry. There's like no hardcovers of anything. And I was just like,
it's hard. And they all have there's a Wheel of Wheel of Crime series. I sent you guys pictures. It's awful. I wanted to buy one of them. I was like, nah.
The whole fantasy section is littered in those little circles, but one of them says show on Netflix, show on HBO Max, it's like every fantasy series has some little dumb circle on it saying, hey, we adapted this on our stupid streaming service and didn't do anything.
Well, that's why you need the White Cloaks flicker sticker. Forthcoming, guys.
Yeah, you got. So yeah, definitely plug that. So, all right. So, I have to read this. So, let's start with the beginning. Start with the prologue.
I'm so pumped for this. Not just because the prologue is all about the White Cloaks.
Dude, like the White Cloaks are very present in these early chapters, even indirectly, they're mentioned quite a bit.
Pedro Null is a genius. He's a master. I love Pedro Null. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to ruin anything.
And I want to read this quote that you put on the thumbnail.
And so is Pat and Fane, by the way, or Deeth,
yeah.
Pat and Fane is unreal. Sorry, go ahead.
Loose a lion, a rabid lion in the streets, and when panic grips the people, once it has turned their bowels to water, calmly tell them you will deal with it. That's how you win people over. So yeah, that was an amazing thing that was said. So this prologue. I mean, the prologues are all really good. The Eye of the World prologue with during the Age of Legends, how fucked up that was. That was a great way to set up all the rules of Wheel of Time. And then you had the freaking the villains. You had a nice little rogues gallery of bad guys in the Great Hunt's prologue. And they're all fucking pissing them. Their bowels are turning to water when a certain Baalzamon is dealing with them directly. I would be too. But this one we're in the White Cloaks headquarters in the audience chamber of Lord Commander Pedron Nile, and he's getting report from the last book. So he talks to three different people. In this part of the prologue, he talks to Bayer, who was I think Jeff from Bornholt's second in command or something. A guy that's a good soldier, just follows orders, doesn't really think for himself, very gaunt, very just an idiot.
Child Bayer's an idiot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
one of the dumbest,
insanely sadistic.
Yeah,
got everything wrong. Every single thing wrong. His report could have been more wrong if he tried.
Oh, okay. Oh, by the way, I don't have the stream up. Did Steve? Did somebody?
Sorry, I did that. I gifted you a membership.
You gifted?
Aldan is now part of the continuum.
What does that mean? Do you guys hear something? I think I hear something.
Oh shit! Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So. Here's a welcome from a movie that's going to have a sequel on Netflix pretty soon. I hope you enjoy.
I swear, if you ever show your face out there again,
I won't.
Ever.
I won't.
Ever.
I won't. I promise you.
Oh!
So there you go. Welcome, Eldan. Welcome to the continuum.
The LARP.
I know what Steve was doing.
The LARP maidens are worse. Sorry, it took me. These guys aren't too bad. I mean.
I know, but look at the double-headed spear. Look at the
that's sort of weird.
Look at the double-headed spear. Look at the
double-headed spear, but
you got a twin blade.
Yeah, exactly.
The dude's holding just a. I mean, it's cutting against his thigh, like in that picture. That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what? Hey, in fairness, only an Aiel could wield a handful of double-handed spears.
A handful,
but none of them were pregnant. It's highly inaccurate.
Oh,
that is true. It's also probably a bundle of spears joke in there.
It was me. It wasn't Brian. It was me. I couldn't help myself.
What the hell happened? Don't tell me I have to take away your privileges too. First Pips misbehaves. Oh God!
I didn't misbehave.
All right, that's it.
I didn't.
Yeah. You were effing with my text.
I was trying.
With my title.
You have a black background going here. I was trying to put some Wheel of Time flavor in here, and all you got is
what's wrong? What's wrong with the void? What's wrong with the void?
The void is not.
There was no flame.
There's no flame. Exactly.
If you're gonna do the void, like, come on now. And in my
defense, that's what's wrong.
Okay,
with it.
Egregious.
Once,
shame on you. Twice, shame on Brian for not revoking your privileges.
In fact, he just gave them back. He just re-upped my subscription. True. Basically, he's like, "Hey,
yeah." Well, I stripped Pips of his because bad behavior. So now,
I was looking for like a.
Maybe I should just give it to Nathan. Maybe Nathan. Maybe
he'll probably behave.
Yeah, he's definitely the most responsible.
I don't want to do that.
I was seeing if it would let me upload, because we're gonna upload the Great Hunt, or not the Great Hunt, the Dragon Reborn book cover for the background. But this,
can you?
We found something.
Can you?
It won't let me. It won't let me upload it. But so this is good. This is a Wheel of Time thing. It's not land.
So speaking of the prologue and the White Cloaks, right? What do you guys kind of think of Niall, and like what we kind of learn about him and sort of the White Cloaks generally, right? So the general perception up to this point has basically been that the White Cloaks suck, right?
Yeah, they're very bad.
Bornhald, the elder, right, was a solid dude, kind of like a relic from a former time. Maybe he's a true believer, maybe interested in doing good stuff, but like still very hardline zealot.
He believes in redemption. I mean, from Eye of the World, he's like, a person can come back to the light.
Sure, but he's like, yeah, you come back to the light after we execute you. Obviously, we're still going to execute you.
Yeah.
Let's be serious. You're dead either way, but you can repent before we kill you. That's allowable, right? So he's still a hardliner. And then we get Niall, who's like the second White Cloak that we get sort of like the internal point of view on. And
now is there nobody higher than Niall? Because it seems like he's kind of like, it doesn't seem like the questioners. Do the questioners report to him too, or are they?
Interesting questions you're asking there, right? What's the relationship between Niall and the first questioner? No, whatever. I don't remember what his name is.
I forgot what they call it. I forgot what the first questioner is, but I mean,
High Inquisitor.
Is it High Inquisitor?
Yeah, it's High Inquisitor. Yeah.
So
do we need does this High Inquisitor have a name in the future?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
So to answer your question, Pedro Nall is supposed to be the guy.
Lord Commander.
We'll say supposed to, because the Inquisitors basically hold themselves apart. But I don't want to give away too much.
That's what
they're not supposed to.
Yeah,
but they do.
Mm-hmm. It seems like they kind of do their own thing, and they're.
Yeah. So I guess You know what? I'm not going to say anymore because you'll read it. But the Inquisitors, the White Cloak Inquisitors relationship is very interesting because you almost treat them as two different organizations. I think that's fair without ruining anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the point that I was trying to get to. That we learn a little bit about the organization of the Children of the Light, the Hand of the Light as well, the Inquisitors, right? The Questioners. I don't think it's a accident that he's called the High Inquisitor, right? So I think one of the things that was interesting to me reading this is that a lot of people equate the White Cloaks to really hardline religious zealots like the Spanish Inquisition kind of thing, right? And I think that calling him the High Inquisitor and showing the internal political division here actually makes the White Cloaks a more interesting organization. You get to see that they are not even as an antagonist organization, right? The tendency in books is often to make your antagonist somewhat more monolithic than your protagonist, right? Your protagonists get all the detail and the time and the intrigue and the difference of perspectives, and the antagonists are left to just be those evil dudes that do evil things because they're evil, right? Yeah, exactly. The mustache twirlers. So in my mind, this chapter serves a really important kind of literary function for the books in that it humanizes the up to this point one of the chief kind of adversaries that we've encountered, right?
Yeah, I definitely can see that. There's with especially with Niall, we really learn like his ambitions, and we just learn how intelligent he is, and how he's just like the man who calls himself Boris, the way he read people in the prologue of The Great Hunt. He's Padron's able to read anybody he's in contact with, and he's able.
I can't remember. Did you have a guess as to who Boris was?
Yeah, I know. I know who it is now.
Okay.
Based on this prologue, and based on what we learned at the end
Who
of
is
the
it?
Great Hunt's prologue, it's Jacob Carradine.
Okay.
Who's that? I'm kidding.
Who's that?
Jacob Carradine is how do we say that? Cautionary tale. We'll say that.
Well,
his position, his position. I mean, we haven't even covered the final part of this prologue. He's literally stuck between a rock and a hard place. He has to make a hard choice. But I think if I was in his position, I think that I think there's an obvious choice. There's either get off in a month, or slowly get digested in the belly of Shale Ghul.
Do not feel bad for Jacob Carradine. That motherfucker put himself in that position, and his whole family. True. It's do not do that, and that's the thing. You sort of want to feel bad, right? You're like, oh man, but he did all of this to himself. He is an asshole.
Another indication of how good this prologue is, right? Like Jacob Carradine, you're like, dude, that sucks, man. Like, feel bad for you.
But I mean, he's a pure asshole. He's still an asshole. Even after that horrible thing that happens to him, he smacks his servant. Servant's trying to help him up. Smacks his servant, like, give me a paper and a pen or whatever, or quill or whatever they use. I forget.
Aurora Uplinks. I think you're not alone, because there's some Forsaken that I never figured out where they were until it was revealed. So I think that's just a compliment to the writing. I think because I don't think it's overly obvious who some of the mystery characters or who some of the alter egos of characters really are. I mean, a certain female Forsaken, I think, is who deals with Aes Sedai is one that pops out at me, who's embedded pretty deeply, and you never really figure out where she's at.
Hey, Aurora, I have a question for you. When did you start reading the books? Because, and when you put your answer in, I'll explain my question. But let's see. On what you were talking about, Carradine and whatever, the thought that I had. So, have you guys considered that Valda
I still haven't met him. I'm 18 chapters. I'm 17 chapters into the Dragon Reborn. I still have not met Eamon Valda. They put him in the freaking Wheel of Prime. Sorry.
He's the main White Cloak, isn't he? Oh wait, sorry, never mind.
All I was going to say was that I think Valda and Carradine were combined in the show, which has a lot of really bad.
So
issues.
No, I think that's what they might have thought they were doing, but neither of them are right. So even if they try, I think that might be what they were thinking is like making Valda High Inquisitor in the show.
Yep.
But he doesn't feel like Carradine, and he doesn't feel like Valda. So
none of the characters feel like literally anybody. They're all planks of wood that have no
which is great because
attributes.
It's like I said to PJ. At least I feel bad that he pictures all these terrible castings as the characters in the books. Yeah. I could definitely see how that would ruin it. Luckily I read it. I don't have
that problem. I don't have that problem either. I use the descriptions that the author left that he wrote. That's what I.
It's like maybe I could see Lan, or maybe I could see the guy. Joshua is Rand. Like maybe those are close. The ones that are close, it's like maybe, but I don't have that problem. But I could see it ruining everything. But I think you're absolutely right, Pips. I think that's what they wanted to do.
The combination of Childbuyer, Valda, and Carradine all into one person, which is what I kind of think they're going for, is just shattering on that entire storyline, to the point where, and I've said this before, like if you were going to cut something for time from the series, like you probably should have cut almost everything to do with the White Cloaks. Like as much as, hey, we're the White Cloaks, and like I think they're an important part of the story, like you could probably cut the entirety of the organization outside of like just fringe interactions with them, like obviously Perrin with them in the first books.
See, I disagree. Cut the Windfinder shit. Cut the Goal of the Winds.
I'm saying cut that in addition. These are deep cuts. These are deep cuts I'm proposing, right? I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying if you were going to make deep cuts, the White Cloaks is one of them. But if you're going to keep the White Cloaks and you decide to just like hodgepodge all these people, it's just story destroying. Like I don't know how they actually have a White Cloak story with Valda as depicted. But anyway. I'm hijacking your book stream into a show stream.
Shame.
Like they didn't even name the guy Jeffro. Like you don't even know if that. We all have to speculate that guy's Jeffro.
You can see it in the subtitles.
Yeah, it's in the subtitles. It's the same way that we learned that Master Gil is in Tar Valon for some reason, because in the subtitles, line of audio that you like barely hear in the inn where Matt and Rand are staying. It says like Master Gil, like, oh, do you guys want some coffee or something? It's just like totally throwaway line. It's only in the subtitles.
They're really
you don't actually see him on screen,
aren't they?
Kale is correct. Wait, cut the whole show.
That's real? Master Gil's in
yes,
Tar Valon?
Master Gil is in Camelin. Or in Tar Valon. Sorry.
Camelin.
I can't even say it. I can't even wrap my head around the change.
You guys are not fucking with me, right? All right, sorry. We'll get back to Jesus Christ. All right, sorry.
All right, so we just learned Steve didn't watch any of the rewatches. Thanks, Steve.
I was in like 3 of them. Isn't that enough? I watched the rewatches. Shut up. They're so long, man. Like how am I supposed to? I can't even remember the books until we start talking about them.
I listened to them, but then Pips spoiled something and then I stopped watching because I can't. I just
you'll have fun going back through them. Like they're good listening when you're like on a long drive or something. But
oh yeah, definitely. So. So the report that comes in is that that there's fighting on Almouth Plain and Tillman Head, and of course Jeffrey Bornhold is dead with 1,000 White Cloaks, memory eternal.
Man, and like a Chad though, man. Oh,
I mean, it's just like what are we gonna do? Either we go back and I'm gonna be executed by a fucking asshole, or I'm gonna go and ride and try to fight these what they think are Aes Sedai. They think they're Aes Sedai that have broken the 3 rules. Like I forget what they call it. The 3 what's it called? The 3 order of
the 3 O's.
The 3 O's.
We're talking about Aes Sedai?
Never use, so they can't use the one power against anybody other than
The three
Shadow
O's.
Spawn.
Yeah, the 3 O's are the proof that Aes Sedai are stupid. Oh,
They
sorry.
can't construct weapons, I believe, of that you utilize the one power. And I think the third is was it they can never lie? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's what they say.
But am I correct? Are those the
Yes,
three?
yeah, you're right. Those are the 3.
So
Yes.
they believe that they've broken. So Niall believes that they've broken this rule, and of course the Shan Chan are basically dark friends that are just I like how Carradine just says, "Oh, that's all misinformation." The Shan Chan, they're not from the Earth Ocean. It's misinformation.
So one of the key things that I think is important to understand about Nile and the White Cloaks in general is that they don't believe that the three oaths are real, right? So they think that the three oaths are basically just propaganda from the White Tower, that the witches can do whatever the heck they want, but they have done it in secret for so long to convince the world that they can be trusted and whatever, but they don't actually believe them, right? So like when Bornhald in the second book encounters Aes Sedai witches who are channeling against his guys, there's zero question. Like the fact that they use the one power as a weapon made them Aes Sedai, right? So they have always believed that the three oaths are nothing more than platitudes who are said to the world and are not actually enforced, right? So the idea of the oath rod, sort of like bonding those oaths onto you, is not something that's part of the White Cloaks, sort of understanding of the world.
I want to ask you a question though. Do you think that the Aes Sedai have done everything in their power to basically make everybody in the world feel like the oaths are of a sham and aren't real? Like, I think I'm not wording that right, but I think that the way that the Aes Sedai hold themselves, I think promotes them thinking that the oaths are fake.
So I've always thought that there's sort of a split opinion here, right? So Aurora makes a good point about the Black Aja's involvement in the Three Oaths and the perception of Three Oaths. By the way, we like Moradin and the Black Aja very, very integral into that.
Oh, back up! Come on, slow down. We're going a little far. We got Nerd Man in here.
But the idea that people don't believe them, the way that they carry themselves. So like the educated class, so all of the nobles, generally speaking in the world, I think like know that, hey, if an Aes Sedai says something to you, it's the truth as she perceives it, right? Like, so I think that the more educated class, I think, knows that the Aes Sedai and the oaths are sort of real. But I think that there's stories, myths, kind of legends that are in the society that probably lead all the way back to like the War of Power, the sort of through the breaking, through the 10 nations and the Trolloc Wars, right? Like that still exist and are sort of known by the common people, and so that's why you get the air of distrust among like the common folk. Because even like the Tyrants, I think, would trust if an Aes Sedai said something to them out flat, and we know that even like Pedro Nile, right? Like even Pedro Nile would like go to an audience with the Amaryllis seat and would like know that she's not lying to him. That part I'm a little skeptical of. So that's just the way I've always looked at it. That there's a breakdown in who knows what.
Yep. There's also the fact that the Aes Sedai might not actually use their powers on you, but they are more than willing to fuck you up in other ways. I mean, you see it with the Borderlanders in A New Spring, and I'm gonna just, they make it very clear that an Aes Sedai will bewitch you and pull you into her schemes immediately. And the other fact is,
we can spoil New Spring.
Yes, we can spoil New Spring. And then the other thing is they always have their warders with them. So if the Aes Sedai needs somebody fucked up, they may not personally get their hands dirty, but the bouncer right behind them is certainly going to be willing to do it.
The Aes Sedai is like is like Inigo in The Princess Bride. Like Fezzik, tear his arms off.
And there is
Oh,
your
you mean this
obligatory
key.
Princess Bride reference.
I just,
Hey, it has to
everybody, I know the discussions was great so far. Just including myself. Be careful, spoilers. Nerdman here is discovering all this for the first time. So,
Yeah, don't
he has
spoil
he
it.
has,
Don't
he has,
spoil it.
he's
You're gonna make
literally-
you're gonna
he's
make
lit- yeah,
you're gonna
he's
make a
literally-
mad Poriel mad.
Yeah, you're
So,
literally 16 chapters into Dragon Reborn for the first time. So anything past Dragon Reborn is off limits. So I love seeing the enthusiasm here. It's fantastic. But just if anything's
Sorry,
even
guys,
iffy,
I'm chastened.
pump the brakes a little bit, right? Pump the brakes a little bit. So, but yeah. So sorry, I just wanted to put that disclaimer in, just because we're all at the chat's awesome right now. You guys are killing it.
yeah,
so just
thank
keep
you
it
guys
up,
for
but-
being here. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
let's wrap up. So let's wrap up the prologue. So the yes, I already talked
I don't care.
about.
It's great. The prologue is so good.
I just love the once again I already brought up that speech how to win people over. So
Can I ask you, what do you think of Patton Fane, aka Ordeith, showing up next to Pedro Null? What did you feel about that? Like, what was your initial reaction?
I was just like, what is his end? What is he trying? I mean, the first thing I'm asking myself is, what is he trying to do? Why is he here? How come he didn't? How come I thought he wanted to be rid of Rand, but instead he kind of fled away from all that excitement in Falm. So I'm curious if, like, it seems like he basically, I mean, his role was basically to tell, to explain. He basically identified who is, the picture, because Niall has a picture that everybody's been drawing of, that fight in the sky and Falm at the end of the Great Hunt. Of course, they show a young man with red hair and gray eyes, fighting, and they're like, "Oh, this is Randall." He's like, "That's Randall Thor, and he's not alone. He's got two other people who are just as bad." And and then they bring up Perrin, and of course, Niall recognizes Perrin from Byer's report, because Byer basically tells Niall that Perrin is responsible for all the shit that happened in Falm. He is the dark friend that is responsible for all the shit, the Aes Sedai, everything. And of course, Niall's smart enough not to. I think Niall's smart enough to kind of dismiss that, but but it's funny because I'm curious if, like, he's just trying to sow more chaos, discord, or I mean, just sow chaos all over the place.
Well,
so I wouldn't be surprised if he's gonna pop up somewhere else.
Well, it's sort of the perfect place for him if you think he's, more death, aka Patton Fane, is basically a kingmaker, right? And I don't think there's any more perfect place for him to be right next to a very powerful commander of a standing army that has no real land. That they have one. I mean, they call it theirs, but it's basically an army that doesn't recognize borders. They go wherever the hell they want to spread the word of the light. So it's the perfect place for him to spread his disease all over the world, if he can bring it under heel, right?
Yeah, so it's going to make you wonder, because he's in proximity to Patron Niall. Is Patron Niall going to be affected by him? By Ordeith?
So we've shown that people who don't trust Ordeith, Patton Fane, from the beginning are relatively immune to his effects, right? And I use Turok as the example of that, right? So Turok saw him pretty much every day for like months on end, right? We know that he was there constantly, all the time, and Turok never trusted him, to the point where he was setting a trap to kill him when Rand and company shows up, because he was like, "Oh, you're not the person that I was expecting to catch in this snatch, in this trap that I've arranged." So very much, not a follower of Fane. So I think that Niall would have been immune for the same reasons. But it's definitely interesting to think about the effects that Fane would have, might have on the White Cloaks.
I think
we'll have to read and find out. I think is a little bit of the answer there.
powerful belief in what you're doing, I think, is an antidote to Fane. In both Turok and Niall believe wholeheartedly in what they're doing and their place in the world. So his effects, he now at this point thinks he's using Ordeath. And I think they're sort of using each other, but I think Niall is fully aware of what's going on, and he knows he's a weasel. In fact, he knows his name means wormwood, right? I mean, it's all that stuff. So I think I think a belief in oneself and a belief in your cause, I think, is something that can sort of shield you from Fane. At least that's what I've always
basically, or basically not being weak-minded, basically.
Well, that right, exactly. Yeah, strong mind, strong people, strong beliefs, and
so like
and
Bayer
cause,
would totally fail.
Bayer's already gone.
He's weak-minded,
like Fane took
Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, Fane took a poke by him and it affected him. Bayer's an idiot.
Yep.
Yes, he is. All right, but
it's incredibly amusing. I just imagine the Vietnam vet thinking to himself, okay, what does the extreme high ups in a military organization talk about and plan about? And the conclusion that he reached was 9 different kinds of false flag ops.
That's that's a good point. I've always taken away the telephone game aspect, right? And I think, from experience, I can definitely say that is 100% a truism, that the way, and you'll see this several times later again in the series. Robert Jordan writes the fog of war kind of concept so well. So many people are just 180 degrees wrong on things, but are convinced for all sorts of logical reasons. They'll lay it out. Here's all the information that I have available. This is what's happening. And you're like, oh man, you are just dead ass wrong. And he does such a good job of painting how you can be fully logical and completely wrong.
Well, and then on top of that, and again, I won't go too far, just it makes the world big when you hear somebody give you a breakdown of what's going on in the world, and it's either completely done and over with, that what they're talking about, or it's completely changed. It's like, oh, they're headed south. It's like, well, no, they're over there now. Your information is old. It's so it makes it very interesting hearing they're getting their spies reports and okay, well, we're fine. The Borderlanders are way over there. Don't worry about it. Oh shit, they're at my doorstep. What the hell, right? So it's I think that's very cool too. It makes, and those little things make the world so big. I think it makes it cool.
And
it helps just engage you into the story. That's the big thing. You tie all these things together in a logical way that it makes sense. Even though Niall, or not Niles, the fanatic, his fanaticism takes Bayer. Thank you,
Child Bayer.
Yeah, his just absolute hatred of Perrin and Rand totally skew everything to where he assumes that all of these things occur. And it's believable because it's already been established way back in the first book that this guy's a freaking nut. And it makes sense that he would jump to that conclusion. And
I'm trying to understand
to the leadership.
I'm trying to understand this whole logic and being completely wrong. I'm trying to understand what you guys are talking about.
Pips?
Well,
whoever wants to, because I missed it. I was eating.
So the idea is that anybody can look at a situation and think, based on the 5 or 6 facts that I've collected, the most logical conclusion is clearly A. The problem is when you have Randall Thor running around fucking up the pattern and throwing massive fireballs at things, sometimes the actual events are B, and they just don't conclude B because they just don't have the life experiences to remember, oh yeah, and then the dragon reborn threw a Kamehameha at an army and melted it.
Right. The point of view
So
of being
like,
outside a circle, the point of view of being outside a circle is going to be different from those who are participating in the event inside the circle.
so
And so when you've got a
we'll
witness
say
outside, it can be
right. So
different.
Child Bar is out there. He's not in the fight. He's just watching it. So
And he's interpreting it a certain way from his own
it how he interprets
from his
it,
own
even
experiences.
though he's like, oh, this is definitely what happened.
Okay.
So he believes that's what happened.
Yeah, you guys confused me. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so he just basically witnessed it all wrong in his. But to him, that's exactly, he's not lying. That's exactly how it happened in his brain.
He's painting the picture of essentially the hazard of kind of biases or incorrect assumptions, right? So like the White Cloaks have a set of assumptions, especially, and Niall lays them out, right? Like he has a set of assumptions about like what the White Tower is and what the last battle is going to be, and like how some of these things are going to play out. Like they adhere to his worldview, and so he does what might be referred to as reality filtering, where like information comes in and he dismisses things that don't conform to his base understanding of what reality is. Because like, hey, if this doesn't conform with the real world, then it must be a fake kind of report. It's rumor. It's it's just hey, rumor changes as it goes through thousands of miles, right? And then the stuff that conforms to his belief system is confirmation. So the confirmation bias and reality filtering that Robert Jordan lays out, I think is really interesting to watch.
I mean, come on, who believes that there's a lost descendants of this Arthur Hawkwing living on another continent? Like, I mean, who thinks that? Well, that's misinformation. If you think that, then you're a conspiracy theorist, and that's I mean, that's kind of how I see it.
Buyer was hanging out at the horse track. He heard hooves on the pavement. He didn't check. He went and reported it in. He said, yep, there's definitely a horse there. Turns out it was a zebra.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thinks zebra when they hear horse hooves at the horse track, but this one particular instance got him.
Hey, I think zebra, but that's what makes me special.
But with Carradine in particular, I think he's just straight out lying at this point.
Carradine is straight up just evil. So I mean,
yeah, okay.
Like you can't you find out real quick. Like if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm sure you have. But dark friends, especially dark friends that have direct contact to Forsaken, they will do whatever the fuck they want. They will lie, they will cheat, they will do whatever. Because they know they're going to die if they don't get what they're going to do, die or worse if they don't accomplish their task.
Unlike the Dark Friends, specifically Dark Friend Dana in the TV show Wheel of Crime, the Dark Friends in the book are shown to be like selfish, petty, narcissistic. Like they actually are evil. They are people who, plain and simple, made a trade of other people's lives for their personal political, economic, and social advancement. Like they just straight up like, yep,
immortality.
Hey, let's murder all of these people over here. Let's kill all of rape and pillage, and I'm gonna be on top.
I can live forever. All I gotta do is kill all these fucks. Okay,
who wants to live forever?
Like literally, Dark Friends in the book are the worst. It's no question why they are the worst. It's not like a good person turned. It's like, oh, I'm not sure. No, Dark Friends are the worst people on the planet. Dark
Friend is the label of the Robert Jordan world. Like that's like here, like in real life, we hear racist, we hear transphobe and stuff like that. But in Robert Jordan's world, something you don't understand, Dark Friend. Sean Chan, Dark Friend.
Yep.
Hey, you throw that dragon fang on a door.
Dark Friend. Yep.
Dark
Yeah,
Friend.
that's what. That's not to go back to it, but that's
Then you're gonna
also
burn
what
that
makes.
little girl's fishing village down.
Yeah, there you go. Shit.
So I'm
That's what
curious.
makes
I'm
Ingtar so interesting is he breaks that mold when it comes to the Dark Friend stuff. So that's another reason he's so good. Sorry,
but I love the situation. So I'm once again just going to be really quickly. Ordith tells Niall about the two rivers, and he's like, "Oh, this place is full of full of a bunch of dark friends, full of racists." And then it's like, okay, there might be some interest. So maybe after winter, maybe some shit's gonna go down there.
Doesn't he dismiss it at first, and then he's like, "Well, maybe,
maybe
is that how?
Maybe it's something we should look into." Because I mean, he's like, but how would there be dark friends? They're like completely isolated. And he's like, they're there. So, I'm curious. I'm curious where that's going to go. That's
read and find out.
Yeah, that's a big read and find out. Yeah.
And the other thing I thought was interesting is the Jacob. I'm going to go back when I complete the prologue, so we can get on with this. Jacob Carradine is stuck between a rock and a hard place, and so he's supposed to keep Rand alive. Niall's orders was to keep him alive and to avoid anybody that supports the Dragon Reborn and kill any Aes Sedai who oppose him. For the reason of the tiger. So the Dragon Reborn is the tiger or the lion in the street, so to speak. So that then they'll take him out, and then they'll be the heroes, and that's how he's going to bring people together. And he's having delusions that he's like, I'm going to fight against I'm going to find Tarman Gaidon, and I'm going to be the one that's going to go in history as the one that defeated that fought in the final or the last battle, so to speak. So curious where that's going to go. So you have that, and then you have the Fade that appears to Carradine, telling him, "Oh, you got to kill Rand al'Thor, and if you don't kill Rand al'Thor, I think every month a family member is going to die." And if all the family members are gone, you're going to Shale Ghul to die a very slow death.
Well, I don't see a rock in a hard place anywhere in there. I'm killing Rand.
yeah.
No, but you're right. I mean, he's in a terrible position. He's got countermanding orders. So, I mean,
Prophet just exposed himself as a dark friend.
But the part that just got me was when he's like, if anything happens to me, if I get struck by a bolt of lightning, I'm quoting Godfather, if something happens to me, you're gonna be fucking dead in a month, bitch. Like I was just like, that was like the awesomest part of that chapter was having him say that. It's like, if anything happens to me, you're fucked. So that was the prologue. The prologue was awesome. So I have to say,
everybody. Through the prologue.
Yeah, we're done with the prologue. And it's been an hour. Now we got to cover 15 more chapters.
Well, we could probably speed through some of it. There's lot. There's a lot in the prologue to unpack. So it's a very good prologue, and it's really sad we're going to see nothing of it in the show. They're gonna try. I bet you they try and do it. And
dude, the prologue from the Great Hunt is the same. It's the same prologue, man.
It's like the same book.
It's the same book. Like we're gonna see it right now. It's
Dark Friends. I forgot. Dark Friends Social is the only. They're all the Dark Friends Social.
Niall is gonna be at the Dark Friends Social. It's all. They're just gonna put the two together.
Hadrian Niall is gonna be a woman, right?
They haven't announced now.
No spoilers.
Is that who the tree? Is that who the tree lady is? That's going to be Pedro Niall. Oh my god!
The tree lady, I love it. All right, sorry,
I think that's going on the season 2 bingo card. Is that Pedro Niall is
Niall.
I gotta get man. That was an idea. That was a deep man.
No, you know what? Actually, I think the White Cloaks are going to be the only organization that is 100% men. There's going to be 0 women in the White Cloaks.
Because they don't understand they're not evil, but I guess we'll get to that later.
Well, it's so funny. It's so funny you say that because in the show they're in fucking dresses.
Well, that's true too.
That's true. They're going to be 100% of the White Cloaks will be cross-dressing men.
Evil, cross-dressing evil men. Yeah, they don't. We're
going to see Pedro Niall featured on the cover of Vanity Fair.
They'll fill their wine goblets with Bud Light and.
So, all right, so we're done
The
with the
views of the
prologue.
panel do not represent the views of incorporeal life form.
Well, today I
you, friend.
identify as El Cordial Reborn. No, you know. So,
Reborn,
all right,
no.
Reborn, no. So we have let's. So I think we could just skim through it instead of going chapter by chapter. Just talk about parents' arc. So it's basically parents' arc,
Major
and then
points,
you got the and then
Major
you got
points.
the Tarvalon and the Egwene arc. So I guess we could start with Perrin. They're hanging out in the mountains of mist. It's winter. I'm assuming they're I think they're right by Gildon, if I remember correctly. That's where they're kind of holed up. That's where the bowl is, where they're hiding. At first second, I thought they were right by Emmons Field, but they're not. So, and they're just waiting, chilling, waiting for this woman who is one of the Tuathon, one of the traveling people, and I think her name is Leia. Leia. Okay.
It's a Star Wars reference.
No shit. They wait for her, and
it is 100% just made up. That's not really a Star Wars reference.
Sounded good to me.
Just the Leia just made me think it was.
So it's basically it's basically Perrin and the Shinarans. So so the Shinarans are there, and I think throughout this entire thing, Perrin is he's resistant to his wolf instincts. Anything that the wolf call, he's just no. I'm listening. I was listening to the audiobook on my way to you, Pips, and I was listening to this, and I kept hearing no, and then that's what causes this character's death, Leah's death, because he ignored warnings that from the other wolves that the Trollocs were coming. So
it's actually one of the more annoying things for me. I mean, I get it. It's it's a weird thing, but it's just I wanted him to get over it faster.
Yep.
Because he has sort of problems with it. Almost this isn't really a spoiler. He has problems with it pretty much. What, 12 of the 14 books? Yep. I mean,
don't read. Oh shit!
Where? Don't read.
Somebody dropped. Somebody dropped.
Don't read. So stay. You're looking. Don't look.
I'm not looking.
Away.
I'm looking at the screen's right here. I'm looking at the chapters.
So this particular segment is the first of what I call the Perrin does something amazing and then refuses to acknowledge that he did something amazing, where he's just hanging out with the guards. He goes up. I don't know why the guards are treating me different than everybody else. And then uses his supervision to spot Leia. Then uses his supervision to spot a raven that nobody can see. Then uses his big-ass longbow that they're all terrified of to shoot down the raven that they can barely see. And then goes, why do they treat me like I'm different than everybody else?
and then we get into the next couple chapters, and it's yeah, dude, why are you guys being so weird, man? I'm just Perrin from the block. And they're like, okay, few thoughts.
So we're back on track. We get Leah. Alex already brought up shoots down a raven. That was pretty much the highlight of that chapter. Yeah, it was just there. It's a good way to open, build up. So chapter 2, I think the highlight for chapter 2 was we find out that there's a camp. They're encamped and they're on the mountain. They're encamped in a little bowl, and it's the encampment of the Dragon Reborn. And of course, Rand and Moraine are always arguing about courses of action. Rand wants to act and Moraine is against it because Rand does not like the idea of people dying for him, especially with what's going on in Elmeth Plain. People are, there's wars going on. Toman Head, I don't know if Toman Head's also affected. Terrebonne is affected, but the entire area is affected by conflict. So, and he just doesn't want to. He's just completely. He's like, I don't like this. This is completely fucking with him. So, So we're seeing that from parents' point of view, obviously, and of course, Min, I think, brings up. I don't know if it's this chapter or the next one, but I'll just bring it up. Min basically sees Leah and sees like her face with blood on it and lifeless. So she's like, that means she's gonna die. And so throughout, so now as the reader, we are like, can this change? Is there any way that this can be prevented? And unfortunately, no, it can't be. So, I mean, she dies, but I was just like, why did she do what she did? Like she literally, like, parents telling her to hide during the battle, during the attack, and then she goes in, instead of hiding, she tries to fight the Murdral, and the Murdral just really easily, like, she's nothing. Because she's an idiot.
Yeah, I think there's three Tavera in there, and she's probably never seen a Trolloc before. So
or a Murdral.
Or Murdral, and I guess it could be just sort of deeper look into her character. I mean, she's fighting to protect him, maybe, rather than run. She's running. She's not going to make it very far. The Murdral will just run her down.
It's and what's interesting is that the way of the leaf is they shun violence regardless, even at the cost of themselves. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the Hulkins in the Star Trek episode Mirror Mirror. Like they would be willing to die as a race.
I love how Robert Jordan makes it so clear and obvious, like how laughably stupid the Way of the Leaf is. He's like, yeah, I hope you never meet a Trolloc. And the reader is just like, good point, man. Like, Way of the Leaf makes zero fucking sense in a world with Shadow Spawn. In the show, they're like, the Way of the Leaf is that's friggin' S tier, just galaxy brain stuff, like it's so good.
Like if they I forget, like that one dude, the leader of that one pack in Eye of the World, I forget his name, was able just to read the sky and he knew something was coming, so they left or they moved on. And I think they've just simply avoided bad actors, or Shadow Spawn or whatever. That's how they've stayed alive, if I'm guessing correctly.
That's what they try to do.
That's what they tried to do. They're a little lemming-like.
I mean, it's easy to avoid Shadow Spawn when they're all in the Blight. So now that the Shadow Spawn are coming, out of the Blight, good fucking luck. The Way of the Leaf is dead because they're just gonna plow over you.
It's funny you thought that. That was when I was reading through this on my most recent reread. I was like, you never see any Tinkers along the Blight border. Yeah. They're always like hanging out, crossing the Aiel Waste, where stuff's okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of strong warriors to defend them if they just run and hide.
Oh yeah, that was another thing I forgot to bring up. Apparently, there's more and more Aiel being sighted from the prologue, being sighted west of in those upper areas like Shinar.
Yeah, I mean, there's a dead one in Breen Spring. Like they're all over the place.
Yeah. So
damn it, Pips.
Can't help myself. I can't help myself, guys.
I wonder if the Vietnam veteran was making a point about the hippie lifestyle and the disarmament.
Well, he was definitely making a point. He was 100% making a point.
Yep.
Brian, wait till you get to Fires of Heaven. Just
Fires of Heaven.
Wait till you get to the Shadow Rising.
Can't wait. So
Tinkerers suck.
Shadow Rising
okay, moving on.
High. That's so good. You're right. You can't wait.
Tinkers are terrible.
So Rand is like completely like Rand kind of goes off by himself. He's talking to himself. He doesn't want to be around the Shinarns because the Shinarns practically worship him.
Wait, is he talking to himself?
I think so.
Is he?
Well, he's mad because he made the earthquake.
Or maybe he's talking, or
is he talking to himself at this point? I don't know. I don't know if he's talking to himself at this point, like actually talking. Sorry, moving on. Go ahead.
Well, he probably was talking to himself. Then Perrin goes up to him and just he asks about Matt. You think Matt's going to be okay? And he's like, yeah, I think so. And then I think Rand just can't control. Like he can't. He hasn't mastered control of Sidene, so he causes like a massive like quake, and like so the village gets completely fucked up, and yeah. It's just it's funny like how it's just funny how he couldn't even support them during the battle. Like all he was doing was lighting trees on fire.
Yep.
And it's just at that point he's just like he was totally upset about it. And I think he was complaining about it, and Land's like get your act together, man. Or I forget how he put it. How did Land put it? You got to do what must be done or something. If I remember, I forget exactly what he said. And that's what causes Rand to leave the next day like he's gone.
All of Land's advice to Rand can be summed up as what would now be considered toxic masculinity. He basically pulls him aside and is like, be a fucking man.
Just slaps him in the face and says, get a hold of yourself, man. Shit. Stop being a bitch.
Oh, yeah, or
I apologize. We're an hour in. I don't think they'll demonetize you.
Well, all right. The whiskey. I think the whiskey stream got demonetized. So,
did it really?
Yeah, ad suitability. I'm going to look into it. So I'm going to try and find it. So
they're like a bunch of people talking about fringe political conspiracy theories, getting super drunk. Everyone in the comment section was high and or drunk. Like, yeah, not suitable for advertising.
Probably not.
Depends on what advertising.
There you go.
Your local head shop wanted to advertise that thing.
But yeah, like my favorite thing that Land told Rand in the Great Hunt was if wherever you're facing, face it on your feet.
Yep.
Was probably the one that I took away the most.
Yes. Well, I think
Land's ability to say "stop being such a little bitch" in like 900 different poetic turns of phrase.
He says it in so many ways. And Rand takes each one to heart.
That might be the funniest part. Is Rand takes each of them like they're this like new grand nugget of wisdom.
That is true. He's yeah.
So apparently the hunt has been renewed or restored from Ilion. So they're hunting for there's the Great Hunt of the Horn again. So even though we finished the Great Hunt book, there's still another Great Hunt going on. So
ironic, yeah. The Hunt for the Horn has started.
So embarrassed.
It's very ironic that exactly that. It's like, oh, the Hunt of the Horn has begun. It's like, oh, we win.
So that like I think they bring up the White Cloaks here, that the White Cloaks have like people in that Almond Plain and Terabon and all that, and they're basically saying they're basically saying what's her name is basically saying what we know from the prologue, that they're leaving people that are following or that have declared for Rand. They're leaving them alone. They're like, there's something fishy about this. So the damn White Cloaks, what can I say?
Yeah, those dudes suck.
or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong and I just need to rethink my life. But like we learned that some people, like there were 3 youths in that area, I believe in that area, in the Almond Plain area, that looked like Rand, that had reddish hair, were tall, and they were murdered. And this is where we first hear of the Soulless. And I'm like, what is the Soulless? Like that's a new thing. Are they shadow spawn? What are they? So, but we'll get to that. And then we get the dreams. We get Perrin's dreams. And the first time I listened to this chapter the first time, and then I was like, what is going on? And then I have some ideas. I think I was able to figure out who was who in the dream based on descriptions. So the first part of the dream, he's in Perrin's in an inn, and there's a guy sitting at a table wearing black velvet, I believe. I think that's Ishamael. I believe that's him. And then he talks to then the second part of the dream, he's talking to a beautiful woman. He's in front of a mirror and she's telling him about his destiny and about glory and all that. I'm like, that's obviously Lanfear based on how she talked to Rand. Of course, like, who else is the most beautiful woman in the world besides Lanfear? And then you get another scene, another weird scene. And based on the first two dreams, I'm assuming in this third scene where he's on this like never-ending bridge connected with other bridges and everything. The fact that the first two featured Forsaken, I'm assuming that the people that he's watching having an argument are Forsaken. I don't know who they are. There's not much to go by, but I'm assuming they're Forsaken. Or maybe they're not. And this is during an age-long past. Maybe it's the Age of Legends, or maybe it's something even beyond, before that. So, yeah, read and find out, I guess. Right.
Some good theories
I'm just going to tell you, you know, when it comes to guessing Forsaken, there are two characters in the Wheel of Time that love leather and lace, and this isn't Matt, so you got that one right.
Just like a little bit though, just like a little bit, kind of at the collar, cuffs, maybe like a slight amount of lace.
Oh, Matt,
like a manly amount of lace.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I was able to think that was a Shamael is because he was talking about, oh, you can change. You don't have to. You can change your destiny. You can change your fate and all that. Like you don't have to be bound by the wheel, which is something that Alzamon has said quite a bit. So that's kind of why I thought, Shamael.
Right there is maybe what makes the Forsaken so interesting is because all of the Forsaken have the fundamental flaw that they think everybody views the world like they do. So Shamael is this nihilist guy who says, nothing really matters. We're all going to die eventually. The Dark One is going to, eventually grind us down and win, and nothing really matters. So his pitch to Perrin is basically a lie. It is, you can break free, you can do what you want, because that's what he wants. And then Lanfear is the same thing. She's all about sort of the ego and the, be known for being great, be known for being, this legend and this, this higher esteemed person. And what none of them get is that none of these three bumblefuck bumpkin kids wants what they want. So they keep making these pitches and they're just like, no, that's weird. I don't like that. Highly amusing. And it feeds into the, the small town lifestyle and upbringing is good because you're not tempted by the same things that the
kind of like the hobbits, right? That's why the ring was best bore by Frodo.
Yep. Yeah, Perrin could have easily taken that thing all the way to Mordor. Sauron would have been like, do you want this? He'd be like, probably not.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
But the final part of the dream, and this is the cover of the book. the sword that's floating in the air, the Kalendor. And I keep thinking of pasta and boiling water when I read the name of that sword. I don't know why. I just don't know why. Kalendor. So, and apparently we learned that Rand projects his dreams onto Perrin. That's why Perrin was dreaming that. And then, of course, there's a wolf saying Shadowspawn are coming, and then he wakes up, and then then the battle begins, and then, of course, we get this great battle. Apparently they were able to. Did they explain how the Trollocs and the Fades were able to find them? Because they were warded. They did establish that Moraine established that they were warded. So
yeah, then somebody used like a crazy amount of the one power, and Murdral.
The earthquake. So you're talking about the quake? They picked up on the quake and all that. Oh,
yeah. Rand shot a magical flare gun into the sky, then made the ground shake.
Yeah. Okay.
So something that I think sometimes gets missed in this that I think is worth considering in Perrin's character as he continues to go through his arc is Perrin's rejection of the wolves up to this point, right, where he tried to push them out of his mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Leah's death and the death of really everyone else in the camp, like part of that is on Rand, right, for the flare gun and making a hole in the canyon side, right? But part of it also is Perrin should have known that the attack was coming, and because he's fighting against his nature so much, he allowed the attack to happen with no warning that he could have given, and that is something that he's going to continue to kind of wrestle with, right? That like his sort of
cross to
dual,
bear, so to speak.
yeah, I mean his dual nature and the fight that he has with that, he starts to increasingly recognize that like he has these two competing sides, and he doesn't know how he can how he can make a right choice between the two, right?
It kind of sounds like the way you described it kind of sounds like Mr. Spock fighting his Vulcan versus his human halves and all that. Gotta have them work together. So
Flip it 180 degrees, but yeah.
But I thought it was interesting where this arc was going ultimately. Like they encounter, so they're in I forget the name of the town, but apparently that this one guy is totally lost to his wolf side or something.
Ooh, yeah, Boundless.
Yeah,
I forget his name. Yeah. Good old Boundless.
It was like the innkeeper's. It was like the servant of the innkeeper's brother. His name was
Noel.
His name is Noam. And the innkeeper, they're not the innkeeper, but the one of the assistants. His name's Simeon, and he wanted to know. So he basically, like, Rand was already gone, and even though Moraine and Land told Perrin not to say anything, he asked about Rand anyways without their permission, and so he found out that Rand was actually there. He was playing for food and all that, but he was nuts. He was just nuts, and he left before they got there. And apparently Simeon recognized Moraine as Aes Sedai, and how did I put it? He wanted to see if she could heal
him. Yeah,
she can heal the wolf out of him. And she's like, no, can't do it. Yep. This is old. This is shit that's older than Age of Legends. We don't fully understand it. Yep. I'm assuming a lot of the stuff that happens in this book is not fully understood.
Yeah,
because it's
there's
long lost.
There's a lot of parents stumbling through, being very confused at what he's saying.
Yeah.
And apparently the White Cloaks were busy here too. So apparently, like there were like a whole bunch of. So apparently the Ta'veren aspect of Rand caused like a whole bunch of weddings to happen in this place.
Yep.
And then the White Cloaks started acting all weird. Like some of them were like, some of them just started burning shit down. Others were fighting against the burning shit down. What else was going on?
All kinds of shit, man.
Yeah. Plants are blooming.
Yeah. Springtime. Yeah, it's Jara. That's the name of the town. Jara is the name of the town, and
yeah, chaos follows Rand. Chaos or yeah, both.
I am really curious where this is going to go with Rand. Can I look at the chat, or is there still shit? Is there still shit in the chat?
I think it did.
Okay.
No, that was a while ago.
We're spreading misinformation in the chat now, so you're fine.
All right, good. All right, good night, PJ. Thanks for being here.
PJ.
All the way
did we
Scotland.
talk about Perrin's badass moment with the Murdral?
We did not actually. So apparently he started just. I forget what was his name. What's his wolf name again?
Young Bull. Young Bull.
Young Bull.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Young Bull. He's got his spiked axe in his horn. Yeah.
So he goes for like the legs, I believe, or the hamstrings of the Murdral or something.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, because he starts to battle like the wolves do. And so it just kind of like he doesn't want to let them in, but during the battle he's like, well, this is a great way to do it, and he just absolutely destroys this thing.
So he
Yeah.
becomes the wolf. He becomes the wolf, and then he kills that Murdral. Now, I think if I remember correctly, there's more than one Murdral in this fight. Like,
he trucks a bunch of Trollocs on the way to the Murdral.
Yeah.
yeah. And then I think a bunch of wolves join the fight themselves, and they try to take on a Murdral. I think they all die, don't they?
I'm pretty sure Land kills one in the fight as well, if I remember
Land kills
correctly,
one.
right? So I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure there's at least two. And the takeaway is that I think Perrin is the only one outside of Land that kills one.
Yeah, because Perrin fucking trucks his way through like 20 Trollocs and then kills the Murdral, and then goes, "Why is everybody looking at me again?" And Land has to go, "Yeah,
You
that
killed a
Monad-
Murdral,
that-
bro.
yeah, no, that,
He kills a
that's-
Murdral and then he howls up in the sky.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then-
I was just thinking of I was thinking of Worf. I was kind of thinking of when Worf loses somebody, he doesn't cry. He just like that, just
Well,
howls.
I mean, it's
And then
hard to
the
express how rare killing a like not obviously Murdral are rare, but like the amount of respect
They're really hard
killing
to
a
kill.
Murdral.
especially
Curious.
among the Borderlanders, which is why Land has to do the man. Wow, these Manatharan boys are built different out here, aren't they?
Yeah.
Nope, not magical. Totally normal Manatharan kid.
Yeah. Well, I think that carries a lot with his obviously the people with him, right? I mean,
Yeah.
just not
So
pushing out, kills a Murdral.
The point that I said before, just because we were kind of talking about Perrin's experience in the aftermath of the fight. So I'm kind of drawing that connection, and I think you see it throughout these chapters. But the line where Perrin's saying, like, he's trying to say to other people, like, hey, we had warning enough, and then he kind of in his mind, like, hey, if I had talked with the wolves, we had known they were coming, right? So he, being himself, firmly lays like all of those deaths at his own feet, right? And so like his reaction to killing the Trollocs and the Murdral and all that stuff, and everyone else is like, dude, that's crazy. Like up in the Blight, like killing a Murdral, that's some real stuff, and in his mind, all he can hear is like, look at all these people who are dead because I wasn't good enough. He is among the three boys, I think he struggles the most with like how he sees himself versus how others see him, which I don't know. Perrin's character, I think, is often aligned with the trait of kind of wisdom. And so he's kind of a classic sort of like Dunning-Kruger kind of character, right? Where like he doesn't perceive himself to be very good or very competent or worth following or anything like that. He doesn't see himself as being as good as he is,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I could definitely see it that way. I mean, he's very. I mean, like you said, he's always like even in these chapters, and I mean, him and Rand do this quite a bit. Like Rand thinks, oh, Perrin's good with the girls. Perrin thinks Rand and Matt. In this case, Perrin thinks Rand and Matt are good with the girls. He just doesn't understand.
Greatest recurring joke in the series.
Reoccurring joke. Exactly, and. Like he's always been a bigger guy. He's always been bigger than everybody else. So he's always had to be very careful in how he deals with people. And yeah, he's just always afraid he's going to hurt somebody. So there you go. So I agree with that. And there's a lot. What's funny is I grew up. I was a big kid myself. Like I was bigger than most of the kids, and I was not only was I tall, but I was also built. Especially in grade school. So I always felt the same way. Like I break things easily if I put too much force on it, and my parents would yell like, why'd you break this? It was just, so there was that part that I just kind of, I was able to relate to on the initial read. So, and then even more so now. So yeah, it's crazy. So, but yeah, I loved. I really enjoyed reading this portion right here. So apparently because of the fact that Rand projected. Now, if I remember correctly, Rand projects his dreams onto Perrin. That's why Perrin had that dream with the Kalendor. So now, because they know about Kalendor, they start their quest. So the Shinarans are I think, I forget where the Shinarans go. They go somewhere else. I think they go to Gildan, or they go to, I forget where they go. They go somewhere. They split off. So the Shinarans go somewhere,
Don't they
wait
go back
for
to
orders
Shinar?
or something.
They were supposed to
then-
go back to Shinar. Yeah.
Yeah, the Shinarans.
Really? I thought they were
head
supposed to
back-
go somewhere and wait.
No, the Shinarans are headed back to the Borderlands to report back to Agomar.
I thought that was Huron.
Or-
I thought it was Huron that was doing that.
Well, he did that too, but I think so do they.
Huron did that at the end of book 2. These guys do it at
Yeah.
the beginning of book 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
So Huron goes with right. Huron, I'm not crazy here, right? Huron goes with
Matt, Egwene,
and
Nynaeve,
them, right?
Yeah, the
And-
other
and
half.
independently from Tar-Valon goes. I need to go back up to Shinar to report
To
back.
report.
But I'm pretty sure the Shinarans in general are told like, "See you guys."
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
The Shinarans were treated by Moraine about as seriously as the story is treated by Rafe Judkins.
I never get the impression
I
that
don't need
Moraine-
you guys anymore. You're now inconvenient. See you. Bye.
I never got the impression Moraine hated the Shinarans.
Good point. Good point. Yep.
Just, but I mean,
So,
were they useful, or like were they of any use to her? Like that's the one thing that like Perrin and Rand and like they don't want to be used by Moraine. Like they don't trust her. Like they don't want to be used by her. That's the thing.
I think Moraine actually says something to Perrin in this book, maybe the next book, that I think is very, very much speaking to that point. The way Perrin or the way Moraine sees the world. So you'll have to get to it.
Yeah. And then of course they were on their way, and of course, I think Moraine shows that she's actually good at what was it, like noodling, where they're grabbing the trout out of the stream with their hands and all that.
Yeah.
And Loyal's there doing it too. So it's basically Moraine, Lan, Perrin, and Loyal are the ones going on this journey to catch up with Rand. So yeah.
Yeah, she keeps leaving the fish for him to clean, and he's like, "Fuck you, bitch! I don't want to clean your fish." It's like, yeah.
So we gotta talk about Rand, and so yes, I think Perrin has one more dream, and then Rand. Then we finally get a scene with Rand. So apparently Perrin is once again talking to, I think he's talking to the wolf. I think he's talking to the wolves or something. He has another wolf dream.
Yeah.
And then he sees I think he sees a guy getting killed. And then he sees Lanfear again, beautiful woman with raven black hair. It's Lanfear, obviously. And then she's like, "Wait a minute, you're gonna ruin shit. What are you doing here?" Or something. And then I think for some reason Hopper, the wolf, attacks Perrin in this dream.
We'll get him out.
And then he wakes up with blood on his clothes. So you're like, what the hell's going on? Perrin's dreams are the most fucking confusing. I'm gonna say it right now. His dreams are like he gets like birds are eating his eyes and everything. I'm wondering where the fuck this is going with him. Like I'm really, really, really curious. I know it's read and find out.
Yeah, I mean,
This book has some good. Yeah, this book has some good Perrin dreams. That's a good point.
They're basically premonitions to a point, right? I mean, some of it's premonitions, some of it's actually happening, some of it's you have to sort of decipher between what's real and what's not, and then Hopper is like, for lack of a better term, well, I guess he is. Hopper's basically a spirit guide. I mean, teaching him how to work the dream.
Maybe it's worth pointing out that this book will explain the dreams and the dreams as an aspect of the series probably more fully than any of the other books. It's a read and find out, but like by the end of this book, you will have a very solid grasp, I think, of dreams. Certainly by the end of next book. So like read and find out, like the answers are in there. It's gonna start making sense.
Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, it's just like it's weird, like these wolf dreams. So apparently wolves live through dreams or something. I was trying to understand how Moraine put it, like how the wolves live. Like they live in a world of dreams.
They're like partially in the dream world, partially in the real world. They live in both.
Yep.
So
you will have a much better understanding of the world of dreams by the end of the series.
Yeah, you need to keep going. It's confusing right now, but there's a whole nother world inside a world. That's the best way to say it without ruining it.
And apparently,
they're not just dreams.
And apparently, not only was that interesting. So Perrin actually asked Moraine, like, "Can you shield me from those dreams?" Because like she shields herself, and I think the warder from outside stuff, and she's like, "I can't help you here. This is all coming internally. This is coming from within." So I'm like, huh.
Yep. The people with Perrin's condition are closer to the dream world than others.
Yeah, because they're part Wolfie boy.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, we skipped over.
Unless you read Sanderson's stuff, in which case.
I ignore all that. I don't want to hear any of that. We're not going to go there because that's major spoiler stuff. But
we also skipped over one of the most controversial fan theory questions.
Ooh.
Did Moraine cheat and use the one power to get the fish out of the stream?
I could believe that. Like she cut corners and then she refused to do the chores. Which pissed Perrin off. I mean, come on.
Why is that a controversial fan theory?
Because there are many that say that it was all natural. There was no cheating involved.
Oh my gosh. Are these people trying to argue that this is because Swan taught her how to fish?
No, it's their way. It's their way to say down with the patriarchy.
Oh my gosh, that is.
Of course, she cheated.
That is so dumb. No, she 100% channeled.
Yeah. Okay. I've always said she channeled, but
she even like plays it off like she's. This is like it's. Classic Aes Sedai not answering a question when she doesn't think that it suits her to like seem like she's a badass.
Yep.
Yeah. No, definitely. That's
Alex,
controversial.
I'm upset you made me think about that.
I didn't know that was controversial that she cheated fishing, but whatever. It is. That's a controversy. Wow.
Yep.
Well, like I said, the only reason it'd be controversial is because that's one of the breadcrumbs for the fact that they've really been together learning how to fish for 20 years.
With her bare hands.
Oh, God.
Swan taught her how to catfish noodle, and you guys just didn't catch it because you're dumb.
They were holding hands while they were doing it, too. They were noodling each other while they were noodling for fish, right? Yeah. I don't want to hear it. Oh, my God.
Well, that's the Perrin part. We're finally done with the Perrin part. Now we got to zip through the other half, the Egwene part and everything.
It's amazing how much you're going to say that.
The Egwene part. I'm trying to remember where we're at with Egwene.
They're approaching Tarvalon. They're
Egwene and some white cloaks.
Yep.
Yes. A certain white cloak, and thought he was going to join us, but I guess not. So, well. So apparently, they run into Dane. We finally see Dane after like 2 books. Like we last time we saw him was in Berlin, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he was not with the company that was with his father.
Right.
So he was now if I remember really he's under Eamon Valda, right?
Yeah.
And so he's been stationed in Tarvalon for ever since the Burlon thing, if I remember correctly. So, and he already got the news. I think Bayer already got to him. He already learned what happened to his dad. And I love how, and I said this earlier, I love how freaking Egwene and Elaine just can't keep their mouths shut. like Varen tells them to be silent, to be quiet, and they open. So she's like, you know, the White Cloaks are there. They're like, we should bring you to our camp. We should do things. We should question you. And I like how Egwene, according to the book, I think it was because of the fact that she does not want to be a captive again because of how she was tortured by the Sean Chan and everything.
Yeah,
she just starts fucking attacking them. She's like attacking them, and she broke that oath. She's like, Varen's like, what you just did is an abomination. It's like they were gonna take us away. It's like we weren't trying to hurt them. He's like, don't you fucking split hairs with me. Don't you fucking split hairs with me. So
yep.
Yeah, Varen is over there like the 3 O's, man. Like you have to act like you've already sworn the 3 O's.
And like Varen is not like that type of person who gets mad, but when you see a person who doesn't get mad, it's impactful. It's very impactful. And it just tells you how stupid Elaine and Egwene are, in my opinion. I can't wait to read more. I can't wait to read more about them. So, oh boy. But like, and then they tried to open their mouths that they're coming from Falm, and he's like, "You're the ones. I'm going to see you all dead because of what you did to my father." And I'm just like, oh, seriously. Oh, is there more stuff? Is there more stuff in the chat I can't read?
No, we've been very diligent about squashing it before they ruin it.
All right. Yeah, Steve, can you delete stuff?
Not. I don't think so.
There's nothing we've had to delete yet.
Yeah.
All right, good. So
yeah, I'll stay on it. If something gets close, I'll just delete it. I should be able to delete it. Let me see if I can delete.
So it's funny. I didn't even know this. I didn't even know Dragonmount was right by Tarvalon.
Oh my god, are you serious? That's the most. Okay.
You're about to get brought into the best joke in the Wheel of Time.
you know what Tarvalon looks like, right?
Yeah.
You've seen the joke how men can never find North Harbor?
No.
Go ahead. Continue.
Okay.
Stand by. I'm just trying to think.
Dig it out, Pips.
He's finding the map.
I think page 104. Yep. Okay. There you go.
That's the island of Tarvalon.
The evil lesbian witches hang out on Vagina Island.
In the shadow of Big
I thought that too. I thought that too, actually.
In the shadow
of giant penis. Yeah.
Yeah. In the shadow of Luz Theron's just massive, just erupting phallus.
All right, but I have to say our double secret guest has arrived. Let's welcome.
Oh man.
The third and final White Cloak. So now we have all three. Now there are three of them.
Was he summoned by his book appearance or by giant erupting phallus shadowing Vagina Island? Which one of those caused you to jump in, Dane? You have to. The chat wants to know. Inquiring chatters want to know, Dane.
I think both. Is my mic working now?
It's a little.
You're a little low, but yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. That's got dialed down.
Okay, now you're good.
Okay.
So how you doing?
I'm not too bad, guys. You finally made it to me, huh?
Yeah. I was like, are you coming? And I realized, well, maybe I should message Dane. So yeah.
That's part.
So yeah, we finally encountered you. Where the fuck you been? You haven't been. You weren't even in the last book.
Yeah, because I was keeping an eye on all the witches, man.
Yeah.
That's what I had to do.
So I do have a question. The hair is looking beautiful.
Thanks.
Did you get that because of the actor that was just cast to play you, or did the actor have his haircut just like yours because he was inspired by you?
No,
The actor's a subscriber. Yeah.
Sorry.
I think part of it is I put the camera up there to kind of get that, but my hair's the same as it was last time. It's just
okay. Must
not
be
new
a different angle.
conditioner, but like,
fair enough. I tend to notice these things.
So apparently, I thought one thing I thought was very interesting when they get back to Tar Valon is that apparently Queen Morghese of Camelin wants nothing to do with the White Tower now. She wants Elaine to come back, and she refuses to allow Red Aja Alida to return to the court and all that. So I'm curious where that's going to go. Like it's just like it's just you're just like, yeah, where's that going to go? Because like if I remember correctly, they had like a pact for like 1,000 years, right, or something along those lines.
Yep,
long time, yeah.
So looks like things are starting to kind of destabilize because of the actions of our heroes, or of our
maybe not our heroes.
Yeah, maybe not. Read and find out.
It's Elaine, right? Elaine ran away. She just had to. But the interesting thing, if we remember back from the Great Hunt, Brian, is that Elaine might have been killed had she stayed in the White Tower.
Really?
That's what Leandrin says, right? Because Leandrin's the one who organizes them all to escape or go through the ways. And then she gets really upset, at least at first, that they told Elaine, because Leandrin only wanted Nynaeve and Egwene to come along.
Yeah.
But then she says, well, had you stayed, the Black Aja might have killed you. Now, what we know about Leandrin is maybe that was totally a lie. So we don't know, but...
yeah, we don't know Leandrin's dark past. But we'll get it.
Well, we know she's evil. But,
dark past. Don't tell me. Oh, don't tell me. Don't tell me they're going to make her sympathetic.
No. But by the end of this section,
no.
Brian, by the end of this section, right? Because it's after my awesome chapter, which I don't think we're at yet. But Swan Sanche reveals exactly what Leandrin and her cronies did, right?
Yeah, they break into the they break into like they're trying to steal all the Angriels, the Angriel, I believe is the other one, but they stole the what's the one? What's the other one?
Angriel.
Yeah, there's three kinds. So there's a Tur Angriel, which is a device that has a specific function. It utilizes the one power, but not all of them require the one power to be used. An Angriel is basically just a power booster. So if you're at power level X, this like multiplies it by like 1.5 times or 2 times. And then you've got things called Sa Angriel, and there's some in the series that basically overpower you to the extreme.
Oh, really? So
It's
like to the point where you're to the point where you're dead.
No, they won't kill you.
They'll prevent that. There's supposed to be fail safes in them to keep you from burning yourself out or killing yourself.
I mean, you've encountered a Sa Angriel.
Well,
you've encountered a Sa Angriel at this point, right? Well, so Matt gets healed. Actually, you haven't gotten to that. That's coming a few chapters away. Never mind.
It's coming very soon, but it's basically like devices that all the Aes Sedai put together couldn't channel as much power as someone with this device.
Yeah.
So but that's the 3. And so the most diverse and kind of catch-all is a Tur Angriel, because it just does something like one specific function.
They have so many they don't even know what most of them do. Like they have no idea what a large amount of them even are. Their functions are.
And the really prized ones are the Angriel. Moraine has one right at the start. It's her like ivory carved thing that helps her to heal Tam at the very opening of the Eye of the World. Those are rare, and she needed to loan it from the tower. And then The more rare ones are the
she kind of stole that one, right?
She
wasn't
stole it,
supposed to have that.
She's not supposed. She loaned it. Yeah,
she got it in, but
loaned it. Sorry, I was making a bad show joke since we're going to learn about Leandrin's dark past in the show. Sorry, that was.
But the Sa'angreal, I think the named ones in the series, there's like 4 or 5 of them that are named, so they're incredibly rare. But, anyways,
that's actually a good point. Yeah, I think all of the Sa'angreal are like
names.
Like, you know, mythical sort of things. There's nothing that like straddles the position of like just like a really strong Angreal. So that the rarity level, but also like an order of magnitude is probably the right way to think about the difference between them. So you see an Angreal, a Sa'angreal is like a whole nother tier.
And they're all lost technology, right? Like nobody knows how to recreate them or
not at this point. So
yeah, no one find out. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. So, yeah, and apparently, I liked. So they're back. So yeah, they're back in the. They're back in the White Tower, and I think Varen puts out her report. She gives Suwan so they had the Horn of Valyr the whole time, and because of the fact that Matt had it, they have an incentive to save him, because he was the one that blew the horn in the Great Hunt. So does that? I mean, I was trying to understand. Does that mean that only he can summon them now? No one else can.
Read and find out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well,
I wasn't sure if
that's a very, very good guess.
Think of the text. He who blows the horn is bound to it until death.
Oh, and so no one else can.
Dan, I swear to God, say nothing.
But that's where the drama comes up in here, right? Brian, is okay. So if the Aes Sedai believe that and think that Matt is linked to the horn, are they going to save him, or are they going to let him die?
Yeah, figure they're going to save him.
Read and find out.
Of course,
he's the main character. He's got plot armor. That's okay.
I mean, the next chapter is called Healing, and the end of the chapter that I
read. Oh, spoilers in the table of contents. Oh.
No. I read chapter 16, 17, but even though we're covering up to 15, I actually read ahead because I'm enjoying this. So,
all right, great.
Yeah,
he stopped at quite literally the worst chapter in the entire series to stop at.
That is, well, I don't know. There's, I can think of like a few other worse ones.
Chapter 50 of book 6.
I was gonna say that's one point that I was gonna say is
how many chapters are in that book?
51.
Okay.
Okay.
So now, in fairness, I think chapter 51 is about 100 pages, but
and great pages.
Every single one of them is wonderful.
Is it really that long?
All right, we're here on the Dragon Reborn though. This book right here. This is the one we're talking about. And what chapter are we on now?
Chapter 12. The Varen's talking to Suwan, and they're trying to. Varen just basically gives her reports about the Sean Chan, about Matt and the dagger, and the dragon Rand being the Dragon Reborn and everything. Rand proclaimed himself. And of course, they talk about they call them the Runaways, you know, Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine. And of course, like, what are you going to do with them? We're going to put them to work in the kitchens, and we're going to make this public because you can't do this type of shit. And then what's funny is, like, they know, like we said earlier, that they try to say, hey, we know about, you know, Leandrin, Black Aja, and all that. They're like, yeah, we know about that. That's already done, but you can't talk about it with anybody. But, and then they just dismiss Elaine. Elaine goes to work in the kitchens because they don't want her involved because of the whole Queen Morghese situation that they're in.
Also because they
become voluntold to be detectives to root out any remaining Black Aja that may or may not be in the White Tower. So, and then right after that, they were on their way back. So I think I'm skipping. They're on their way back to their quarters, and then there's a quarrel. A quarrel nearly kills Egwene. Egwene stops and it misses her. And I think Nynaeve uses an ability, the air ability, to hold the assassin at bay. And when they get to the assassin's already dead. It's got a dagger in him. And then Shiriam shows up out of nowhere and says, "Oh, hey,
out of nowhere, presumably she was somewhere."
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you want to get technical with me, want to split hairs with me, sure. But she just shows up, and it's a gray man. It's a gray man, and they're assassins. They sell their souls for stuff, I guess, to kill. And I like how Nynaeve is like, you didn't ask where that dagger came from. that knife in the gray man came from. You'll be silent. So that's where I left off. A great place to leave off, I guess.
Dun dun dun.
So I'm trying to think here. I feel like we've kind of been skipping a little bit around in our conversations about this, right? So am I crazy here? Have we kind of jumped around a little bit or no?
Oh yeah, we definitely jumped around. I'm trying to recall stuff from memory, and there's just so much that I just forgot.
Bornhold parts, right?
That's true. He got the essentials out there. He talked about Pedro Nile. He talked about Dane Bornhold. The essential stuff.
Pretty sure I am the only one to call Egwene a witch to her face in the whole series.
That was actually a little known fact. That was actually a typo that the editor didn't realize. So it stayed in as witch.
It wasn't supposed to be witch. What?
No. Yeah. Little known fact. That was a typo.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the second letter of the alphabet.
Yep.
Not only Min can see the pattern, Dane Bornhold sees it too. I knew exactly what she was going to turn into. But...
I'm very curious what Dane's arc is going to be like.
Oh, okay, all right. So let's indulge some Brian speculation because you're not going to see me for a little while at least.
That's true. What do you think Dane's arc?
What do you think? Where do you think Dane Bornhold is going to go, and what is he going to do? Who's he going to team up with? All the pieces are there.
That's sort of hard, though.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's hard. I mean, this is a big swing.
Who does Dane team up with?
Well, just where do you think you might see Dane again in the future?
Where do I think I'll see
6
Dane
feet
again?
under, baby.
No,
I'm sorry, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't know. I'm not sure that he has sufficient information to really have a guess at this one. Like he all of us have so much like hindsight that like we're like, oh, it's obvious. Like,
no, it's not obvious at all. That's if he guessed it, I'd be like, wow.
That's what I mean. Like it's.
It would be fine. It would be funny if he paired up with. Perrin.
Ooh.
Interesting
Teamed
theory.
up?
Interesting
Wow.
theory.
Be something like an enemy mine type situation.
Yeah,
but that's just me throwing a guess.
The two of them in sort of like a team up situation. Yeah, that's interesting theories. Okay, read and find out.
You're trying. Yeah, I know you're. That's your way of saying you're wrong, Nerporeal or Brian. I know.
You're wrong, but you have no idea how close you are. It'll be good. You'll really
But you
enjoy
still
my
read and
character
find
in the next book. You'll totally read and find out.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So, yeah, I thought there was. I mean, just the. I'm curious if there's more Shadow Spawn on the in the horizon that we haven't discovered yet, or haven't or they haven't revealed in the series yet.
So
I'm assuming his Gray Man's a Shadow Spawn, right?
Yes and no, because like they lose their souls, right? That's how they're kind of described. So there's a process involved, but
they were originally people that
they're originally people. They give up their soul, and then they basically become so not hot Dane, so plain and ordinary looking that the eye kind of falls off them, so they become kind of the ideal assassin.
I mean, I guess they're sort of grouped in with Shadow Spawn, but Shadow Spawn are more like creations of, you know,
because
Agnor, right? I mean,
like
so
the Aes
sort of
Sedai should be able, the Aes Sedai should be able to detect the presence of Shadow Spawn. Same with Warders. And here we just see a gray man kind of walk right into the middle of the White Tower, right? So there isn't that Shadow Spawn detection element of it. It's just like a soulless person.
Yeah.
So it's that much is pretty cool.
It's like they walk around with a permanent ward around them.
Yeah. So you've met Trollocs, obviously. You met Murdral, Drakkar. Although some of the cool stuff, like the Great Hunt, you would have seen the Drakkar at Aldeus and Van Dien's place, right? And Lan decapitates it just as it's about to suck away Moiraine's soul. The Drakkar will come back. There's a couple more. But we'll. I don't want to give away book 7. Some great scenes coming up, bud. Anyways.
Oh, to keep that in mind. I do have a question. I guess this is another read and find out. I'm curious if this crossbow bolt is in any way connected to what happened in Faldara, the Great Hunt.
That's a very good connection to make, because people are still speculating and were for a very long time. I don't even know if it's fully answered. Who was it that loosed the crossbow bolt in Faldara?
And at who?
And at who is the other thing. But how could someone do it? Well, you get revealed now that the Shadow has this assassin capability of gray men. So maybe it was one of those up in Faldara. But then the question remains, who let him in? And I think that was largely answered with Ingtar's last stand, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So Ingtar basically gives you the answer there, because if you read his actual sort of statements, right, he talks about like letting, you had to just sort of let this guy in. He was like an ordinary guy, like, didn't really notice much about him, right? He talks about the way the person is described a little bit, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense as you are reading it, but it makes more context to you now. So yeah.
So can I just say how much I appreciate Robert Jordan's writing style? Because if this had been written nowadays, it would have been like there would have been like a neon sign, like, "Hey dummies, this was a gray man. Pay attention, stupid."
This would be a pop-up book. You just open it, and it would be like, "Bam."
Yeah, tell, don't show.
But Brian, this is good. So as you learn more, right? So now that you've reached this part of the Dragon Reborn, and finally someone discusses a gray man, what they are, what their powers are, then you can begin to look back and see where kind of the clues or the breadcrumbs were left. And yes, indeed, like the crossbow assassin in Faldara, same weapon, maybe the connection there is meant to be made. But yeah, that's how that works, right? And Robert Jordan's really good at doing that. He introduces stuff in a very subtle, non-explanatory way. And sometimes it's books later when you have all the information, you can make all the connections and then realize what was going on. And that's actually one of the main reasons why rereads of the series are so enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that we saw was just in this chapter was the simple, like, the crossbow hit and the crossbow missed, and then the gray man was dead. So the only thing was, I was a little underwhelmed. I was expecting something more, I guess. But then again, with assassinations, stuff, you have that one chance, and then that's it.
But Brian, who killed the gray man?
Well, I mean, the mystery so far, and this is how I prefer. This is how I prefer.
A second gray man.
This is a mystery that doesn't get revealed for like another 10 books.
Really?
Yeah.
There are.
Did people not get it on the first read?
There's stuff. I would say there's stuff from the prologue of The Eye of the World that pays off in the Sanderson books. So like, RJ was definitely good at setting these things up.
I mean, because the thing that the right now it seems like Shiriam has something to do with it, and Nynaeve is like basically saying, "Hey, why are you? Hey, you didn't ask about this particular. Why did you didn't ask about the dagger inside the? Why didn't you ask about the dagger that's inside the gray man? How come you didn't say anything?" And so you kind of like, I'm just like I'm kind of torn. I'm like, she could be a suspect, or maybe she's not a suspect at the same time, based on what I'm seeing.
Or maybe she's doing just classic Aes Sedai sort of BS, where like, dude, I'm not going to ask a question that I don't know the answer to these freaking novices.
She was hugging a tree.
Like the also true. She was, in fact, and then it panned over to some crabgrass sticking up through the sort of cobblestones.
Weeds.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like who stabbed the assassin? Like who did this? So,
well, it's Egwene's speculation that it's another gray man. That's a pretty good guess. But Sherry and the suspect, another gray man.
Well, I mean, what's the first rule of assassinations? Kill the assassin. Or after assassination, you kill the assassin. I know I watch too much TV. I know.
Is that the first rule? I don't know.
I don't know. That's just something I'm saying. I'm pulling on my ass.
The John Wick series is really, really kind of failing upwards on their assassination protocols. Then
two men can keep a secret when one of them is dead. Is the English literature approved quotation for that?
Yep.
So this is a very interesting read. I can't wait for next time. I'm really excited to see Matt's point of view. I want to see Matt's point of view, and apparently the other thing, I'm curious how the Aiel fit into this. Oh yeah, and I didn't talk about like there was some visions, or like I think Min talked about some visions with Aaron or something. Like there's the Aiel in the cage, which I may or may not have seen in a certain.
Yes,
show.
you know exactly how that scene's going to go. The TV show did a pretty perfect. I think you guys will agree with me, right? I mean, they really almost like word for word from the books.
The TV show sucked so much that they didn't spoil a fucking thing for Brian.
Yep.
So she sees.
I mean, for one, Perrin wasn't even there.
Yeah, no, he wasn't even in the vicinity, right? Yeah.
So there's a Tuathon with a sword, a falcon and a hawk perching on his shoulders, both female. And what is always there? There's darkness swirling around, and Min warns him to run if he sees the most beautiful woman, run. Obviously talking about Lanfear, because she saw Lanfear in at the end of the Great Hunt. When she was in bed, I think, with Rand, as he was recovering and stuff. I think,
like I said, Rand was pretending to be asleep. Anybody who argues that point did not read the books properly. Yeah, a close reading of the book. Rand was trying very hard to keep his breathing very even, and
blood flowed normal.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I forgot to bring up the Carathon cycle. So like they talk about Calendor, and it's like, is that it? Does that mean Rand should just go up to Shale Goal and just beat them and be done with it? And Moiraine's like, no, it doesn't really work that way. There's a lot more to this than that, and we don't even fully understand it.
That was Robert Jordan's message to the publishers.
Very subtle, saying, yeah, there's going to be more. There's going to be more shit written. He shall slay his people with the sword of peace and destroy them with the leaf.
Gosh, Robert Jordan's prophecy language, so damn good. We still need to do that tier list of like Koreathon cycle prophecies and like Min's visions. They're so good. They're so good.
So I got a question for Brian. Like they brought up again the twice and twice will he be marked in this section, right?
Yep.
What do you think?
I think so.
What do you think the dragons are? Was it once the dragon to Nain and True, twice the dragon for the price of must pay?
once the dragon for remembrance lost,
yeah,
and then twice the dragon for the price you must pay. Yeah.
It was, again, idle speculation at this point, but the herons were brands, right, in his palms?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is going to be harder to get than even the Dane Bornhold stuff, so don't worry about it.
What was it? Once the dragon to remember?
For remembrance lost. Twice the dragon for the price you must pay.
Twice the dragon for the price you must pay. I don't know, him and Luce Theron, I don't know. Like,
Brian, not gonna lie, man, you feel like you're doing pretty well when it comes to to guessing stuff, but
this is too many books ahead. I know, but because that's
I try to look for. I mean, ever since I've read Song of Ice and Fire, I've been so obsessed with Winds of Winter, and which will never come out. I've always been obsessed with looking at like the finer details within, within the writing to see if I can, guess what's going to happen. And so I'm kind of like doing the same thing with Wheel of Time. I'm really reading the details, trying to get an idea of what they're talking about. And hopefully I'm wrong, and my expectations get completely subverted in a good way,
What I will say about The Dragon Reborn, what's great about this book is how much is not about The Dragon Reborn. Because this is, the first two books were very, very Rand heavy. This is the first one where the main character is basically Perrin and Egwene Nynaeve in their arc. So most of the action doesn't actually take place in Perrin's point of view. It's Perrin, it's Matt, it's Egwene, it's the side characters. So you get way more of them, but you also get, as a reader, a lot more distant from Rand. It allows you to separate from him, and he changes enormously through all the shit he's kind of going through. He's not the same character when you get back to him in the fourth book than he was in the second book, because of the stuff that he goes kind of off screen in this one.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. He kills a dog. He kills a hound or something. He's just sitting there, and all of a sudden there's a hound. There's like a hound that goes after him, and he just
what's the description?
Destroys it.
Oh, I don't want to spoil anything here, but he asked about other shadow spawn.
What chapter does he set up the congregation?
Oh, that weird thing? That's much later.
Okay.
That was fucked up.
Congregation? Read and find out.
It's fucked up.
Rand gives you a little bit of a hint of where that guy's going. Keep reading; it's quite good.
I just liked. I thought it was interesting how Rand's like, you know what, you guys may be hunting me. I know I'm being hunted, but I'm not going to be easy meat. And he just offs that that pack of dogs or something. Yeah. It's weird. It's a weird chapter. It's a weird portion of the chat. It's a weird few pages of reading. It's just like we're not quite sure what's going on in there, but hey, it's
so if you remember Rand's, I've always thought this is supposed to kind of circle back to Rand and Matt on the kind of play for their supper kind of storyline, right? Where like Rand's perspectives in these chapters is supposed to be suspect to the reader, right? So when you're saying, yeah, these are really weird chapters, it's like, yeah,
because we don't know what's going on in there. We don't know what's going on with him. We're just getting we're getting little snippets of what he's going through, and that's it, just to keep us kind of distant, to keep the reader distant from, like Dane said.
But I will say here, bear in mind the description of that power that Rand uses against the dog. So the power filled him. Something leaped from his outstretched hand. He was not sure what it was. A bar of white light, solid as steel, liquid fire. For an instant, in the middle of that something, the dog seemed to become transparent, and then it was gone.
I assume he just shot like a phaser beam from just a phaser beam from his hand. It was golden and it vaporized the dog, kind of like. And I'm thinking the Wrath of Khan sound of the vaporization, like very very the shriek. That's how I.
But wait for that description's going to come back before it's really explained what this is. So
it's just dragons with freaking laser beams
clue
on their heads. Just
sharks with laser beams.
Dragons with laser beams. Just dragons with freaking laser beams.
I think every shark deserves a warm meal.
I gotta watch those movies again. But yeah, so any final thoughts? I thought this was. I can't wait to read the rest of this. Another 40 chapters. Obviously, this book is short compared to the rest. I can't wait for the next book. I looked at how long the next book is. The next book's fucking crazy.
Yes,
Brian. All I'll say is I'm glad you're done with fucking Picard and you're back to doing this because Wheel of Time's so much better than New Trek.
Yeah, it's and I made all you poor bastards. Well, Dane, you didn't watch it, but I made the rest of you poor bastards watch it. So I take responsibility. I'm sorry I wasted your time. I know you guys hate me now. Like
I don't. Yeah. I didn't watch it.
I know you. You didn't. Yeah, but
I will confess, I was morbidly curious after hearing some people say how good it was.
Yeah, same here. And I was like, oh, this must be good. Everybody's saying this is a quintessential Star Trek. I'm watching. I'm like, no, it's not. No. It's not even written well.
Brian, your Star Trek channel is supposed to be turning into a Wheel of Time channel, not your Wheel of Time stream turning into a Star Trek stream. Where you're doing this backwards. You got your Schwartz twisted. You gotta get
my Schwartz is in a I forget what you call it. It's twisted. So Kyla Dare liked it. So yeah, people like the series. So don't know how. I mean, I know how. TNG crew comes back. They're in several scenes together. You get the Enterprise D back. You get some Borgs, and you get some fun action that makes absolutely no sense and nothing connects, and the story doesn't really matter ultimately. No world building, no nothing. But hey, it was fun, right? So, but I was thinking 2 weeks from today, next Wheel of Time stream, or if you guys can make it, gonna cover probably the next 15 chapters. Maybe I'll shorten this to 3 parts instead of 4 parts like I usually do. I'll think about it. It depends on how much content there is and everything. So, so you guys have anything you guys want to plug? White Cloaks. You guys got anything going on, like Lord of the Rings thing happening next week?
Yeah, we should be this Saturday. This last week we had a couple of conflicts with me and Alex, but this upcoming Saturday we should be doing. Alex, what chapters are we on? It's it's book.
It's the first half of Frodo.
5,
it's first half of
right?
Frodo and Sam.
Yeah, so it's book 5.
Second half of Two Towers, so it should be book 4.
Chapters.
Yeah, the first half.
You're right, book 4. Yeah. We'll send out a community post, and by that I mean Alex will send out a community post.
What's that Perrin video?
Shut up.
Good question. These are great questions happening over here. Where indeed?
Where's my audio? I sent you the quote I needed.
I was going to record it after this, but we've been going for like so many hours. Like
we can do that. We can do that.
Well, you Nathan, you got anything going on besides the Lord of the Rings stuff? Like how's that Wheel of Time? How's that season 1 of Wheel of Time rewrite going?
I've got the audio down still. Right now it's on the shelf at the moment because I'm preparing for a month in the pulpit in June. So, but it will, once that's over, I intend to, I'll be working with Salty on some stuff to get that produced. So
okay, nice.
You know, right now it's it's mysteriously getting produced. You guys have more news on it though than season 2 Wheel of Prime.
Oh, so you have a release date. Good. When's the release date?
No, I didn't say there's a release date. I just said you guys know more about it than we do.
Okay.
Stupid show.
About you, Steve? You got anything going on? You got any rage videos to make, or any more Sanderson stuff?
I have actually had that one video I finished, so something probably tomorrow if I can make a thumbnail about some about season 2 stuff and how laughable it is that we're still getting season 2 stuff. So I got a Wheel of Time video probably come out tomorrow, the next day, and then I don't know, more Mayo videos, more Mayo shorts. I got a whole box to get through, so
yeah, you gotta be creative now.
But so and then
you have to run one over with your car.
I already did.
You already did?
Done.
Steve, why don't you just put it on your French fries?
It's already, because that's disgusting. We don't know.
That's how they do it. That's how they do it in Paris.
Mayo's not good for consumption. Mayo's good for other projects.
Steve,
getting run over with your car. I just did it. I just did the car one. It's out right now.
The more you talk, I'm convinced you and I are the same person.
Mayo is disgusting. It should not be used for anything but glue.
Yep.
Come on.
We got to talk Ted Lasso too, so I can.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I got to catch up on the next. So maybe we'll do that this week because I have I work the day, so we'll have to talk because I haven't seen the latest episode. But
you guys haven't seen the late. Alex, did you watch it? Did you watch it after I talked to you about it?
I did.
Oh
did
no!
You hate it? Was
oh no! Don't tell me that.
I didn't hate it. There were still parts of it that were passable.
Wait, are you talking about the Amsterdam one or the one after that?
The one after.
Oh no, because the Amsterdam one was sort of iffy.
You and I feel the same way about it, then, Alex. That it was a solid episode with a solid attempt to undermine the episode.
Which I feel like has been the last 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah.
It's like, would you guys get out of your own goddamn way? I didn't need 7 subplots this year that went nowhere.
Yeah, have they got back to trying to win soccer games yet?
I'm sorry, you guys didn't watch this show because you were really interested in Keely's sex life?
Oh Jesus!
Is that not the reason you watched Ted Lasso?
I would love to learn more about Keely's sex life. It's Keely's dating life that I find so boring. I want to cry.
Is it really more of that shit?
I'm kind of really glad I tuned out after the second season.
This is only the 3rd season, so yeah.
I know.
I mean, the second season was great. So,
should I watch?
Watch the first 2 for sure. I don't know about the jury's out on 3 right now.
If you've never watched the show, you should watch it. The first 2 seasons are
fantastic.
Are a super fun ride.
I saw a clip of Ted Lasso. It was this guy talking about intimidating another person by going into his house and doing a bunch of things. That was the one thing I saw of Ted Lasso.
Roy Kent, man. Oh my god. What? I don't know, man.
No, Ted Lasso. It was originally it was an advertisement when NBC was going to play Premiership Soccer for the first time.
It was an SNL skit that was then an NBC advertisement. Yeah. That was then a whole show. So the
show happens 10 years later. They just rehash the same character, but thankfully they only use half the jokes in the first episode. And then when it really became it was just a fun, uplifting, and positive show.
Yes.
That struck a chord at the time when everyone needed a coach, essentially, to teach you not how to win at a sport, but how to win at life. It was great.
Yeah. It was a great pandemic sort of lockdown show.
But we were just sick of the nihilism and the anti-hero and everything. So I thought it was great, but I don't know. You get out of the pandemic, you're feeling better about life, and then it sounds like at least in season 3, this show's
season 3 that's been barely about Ted. It's about everything else.
It's barely about the soccer.
Yeah, there's no soccer in it at all. It's you don't need to know soccer to enjoy the show, but it's they should still be trying to win soccer games at some point. So There's like a little bit of it, but it's
So it's
a lot
like
of
Book of
Keely.
Boba
It's
Fett.
like what the fuck? What'd you say?
I don't know if
That's
there's.
true.
So
We
it's
just
like
need
Book of Boba Fett.
we just
Yeah.
need Din Djarin to show up and just take about 4 episodes for himself.
Well, and, you
Well,
know,
I mean, Jesus Christ, Bo-Katan has taken all those back and more. Poor Din Djarin is apparently not even in his own show anymore.
That's true.
Who's
I don't think
Din
Pedro
Djarin?
Pascal even showed up for the set. I think they were just like, yeah, the body double can handle this episode.
Din Djarin. Who the hell's that?
I think that was the fat guy that they got to play Boba Fett because he played Boba Fett 20 years ago.
That's Tamora Morrison.
Okay,
Din
well,
Djarin
Din
is
Djarin's
Pedro
more the
Pascal.
Mandalorian, isn't it?
Oh.
Din Djarin is.
When did they name him? I've never heard them
But now-
say his name. He's not.
But now the Mandalorian is not Din Djarin, so it's even more confusing when characters still call him the Mandalorian, but Disney has already said that he's actually not the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian is now someone else occasionally, except when it's him.
Goodness.
I haven't watched.
I am so
Is
glad I have not
Is
watched
Lizzo the
any
Mandalorian?
Disney Star
just
Wars
like,
shows.
come on, Lizzo's the Mandalorian now. Is that what it is?
Isn't she Jabba the Hutt?
No,
I thought she was.
know.
I thought,
No, she's actually Lanfear. You guys are mixing it all up. She's
Sorry, my
Lanfear.
bad. Yeah.
So hard to keep track of.
I was gonna say the Death Star, but
This year on Disney Plus, live action, the Death Star.
All right, the views of the individual do not
No space
necessarily represent the views of the panel.
Come on, if
That's
someone's
fascinating.
still watching after 2.5 hours of this,
Hey, we got 12 viewers. We have 12 people.
they
So
probably
who
agree
knows?
with everything that we're saying.
That's
Yeah,
not even- it's a full
I might have
game.
people. There might be old friends watching that might feel totally different. So just saying, I'm from Chicago. I'm a dipshit from Chicago. So
anybody
All right,
that
but-
isn't mad that they race swapped the Death Star isn't a Star Wars fan. Like,
all right, we got to end this stream. So
I'm looking for the part where they do the live action sort of portrayal of when the Enterprise D goes through the Death Star to blow it up. So is it gonna
oh God, don't remind me. It's you're reopening old wounds right now, Pips.
which end are you guys thinking?
Wouldn't it be funny if they just show the end of Picard instead of making their own Death Star run? It's just they just take it and they just put it in the Star Wars. It's like wait a second, that's not the Millennium Falcon. That looks like the Enterprise D. It's like
I like
oh,
how
wait a second, it is. Well,
I like how Star Wars is ashamed to be.
crossover.
I like how Star Wars does not want to be Star Wars, and Star Trek wants to be Star Wars,
They
and it's
crossed
just
over.
so fucking stupid. Sorry.
Officially, the Kelvin verse is in a galaxy far, far away. So it's like they're in the same universe now.
Right.
So they're just going
do
to
you
cross
think-
and.
It
Do you
could be
think that they
worse.
should
It
do
could be
that
your favorite
by-
books, and then the guy who's making the show wants it to be Twilight.
Steve, do you think that they should do that by just superimposing the Millennium Falcon onto the saucer section and just leave the nacelles visible in the shot?
That'd be
I think
great.
somebody already did that, didn't they? I swear I saw that.
Legos.
Dude, you know what? I just want there to be like they'll just make the crossover happen, just like a space dock or some port, like they go back to Tatooine or whatever, and they go to the space dock and they see the Enterprise D land next to the
Tatooine.
and it's like,
What?
whoa, the Enterprise D's on Tatooine, confirmed, same universe. It's like, okay, there it is.
the Rey Skywalker Michael Burnham conversation might be the first show in history that has 0 viewers.
Wait, then they have to fight over who's the Red Angel, or who's
Oh,
God.
who's the
God?
Mary Sue? Who's gonna be better than who?
No, they'll just scissor
It's
and
like-
get it over with. They'll agree they're both the greatest. It'll be done.
All right.
It'll be done.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
The whole show will be them going, "You're the best," and they're like,
No, you're the best.
No, you're the best.
No,
You
no,
guys-
no, no, no. You're the best.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are the best. I got a bail. I got a dog who needs out. So Brian, thanks for inviting me on as special guest.
You don't want to see my intro? I was gonna leave and then show my intro again, and then that would be it. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Okay. Fitzy, you hold it in, okay, bud?
There you go.
All right. Good night.
All right. So good night, everybody, and just stay tuned for any videos. I have no idea. I don't think I have no streams planned this week. So there you go. So everybody, take care. And the reason why I'm showing this again is because Pips missed it. So I'm showing the intro again.
My brother was heavy into fantasy, and started me off reading something simple, David Eddings, and then once I read through all of that and was enjoying it, he obviously was eager to get me into to the Wheel of Time, just because at that point I think we're waiting for Winter's Heart. I think when I started reading it, but a lot of theories about who did what and who could have done this and that was going around, and then we got pretty involved in theory crafting and trying to figure out what was happening before the books came out. I thought that was quite a bit of fun. Just trying to pick up on the story threads and see try and figure out together what was going to happen next. We were wrong more times than we were right, but so what? That the fun in it was sort of just trying to figure out what was going to happen next, right? So
yeah,
and then from there, just delved headlong into fantasy. I've read, I don't know how many times I've read it, but I've funny enough, I've probably read the first 8, 9 more than I've read the past Crossroads of Twilight, just because something always seems to come up as I'm in the middle of a reread. So, I don't like starting anything in the middle. So if I feel like I'm going to reread it, I start at the beginning again and get to a certain point, and then something else comes out, and I gotta read that. So, but yeah, I've read it a ton of times too. So, but it's pretty near and dear to my heart, obviously.
yeah. I mean, that's another besides all three. I mean, all three are the reason why I'm reading this. So you guys are a bad influence on. You guys are a bad fucking influence on me. Yeah, and the whiskey too. So. Cheers.
I'm Amanda Manethrin, and I approve this message.
Last time on Revisiting the Wheel of Time. Heron, he has a heron blade. He's like, how do people on this side of the ocean earn the heron blade? And it was awesome. It was just awesome.
Gosh, surely that would have been enough to save me. No man can walk so long in the shadows that he cannot come again to the light.
So I know Ingtar Rand drew a deep breath. The light shine on you, Lord Ingtar of House Shanoa, and may you shelter in the palm of the Creator's hand. He touched Ingtar's shoulder. The last embrace of the mother welcome you home. Huron gasped. Thank you, Ingtar said softly. Attention seemed to go out of him. For the first time since the night of the Trolloc raid on Faldara, he stood as he had when Rand first saw him, confident and relaxed, content.
That's the end of The Great Hunt. Great book.
Fantastic.
Awesome book. It was such an amazing read. I mean, besides the issues that I've kind of brought up, the questions I brought up, it was a great book. Like, it was reading it. It was so easy to get through a chapter in this book compared to Eye of the World. Like, it just felt, everything felt tighter. It felt everything felt important to the story. All the details. I love the world building. Characters grew on me even more. Nynaeve grew on me. Rand grew on me.
I feel like there's a lot more breadcrumbs laid out here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's way more prophecies that need to be fulfilled going forward. So,
yeah,
I liked this book a lot. I really did. And
yes.
And now the continuation.
Products out there, so more to come on the White Cloaks.
Sounds good.
Yeah, don't ask any questions. Consume White Cloak's product and be excited for next White Cloak product. RLM right there.
That's good.